Hello, everyone, and welcome to the live stream. If you're catching this in the archive, feel free to use maybe some chapter markers, hang out, have a good time. If you're joining us and you want to hang out live, we're also in Discord chilling out tonight. I am going to hopefully be getting some relic stuff done, maybe doing some Blue Mage. Honestly, this is just going to be about me hanging out, having a good time, and with you guys and playing this game that makes me happy. So, if you guys are also watching this, feel free to hit that like button here on YouTube. It helps share out the stream, so I appreciate it. Wes, you're muted right now, but if you do come back, let me know. And how you doing, man? What you been up to? I should probably tweet this out, you know, be a content creator who shares when they're doing stuff. That's so awesome. Boop. Cool. And let's see here. What is the link? Ah, there we go. There's the share button. Copy this. Let's see here. And doing a Twitter. See here. Cheer. Yeah. And a tweet. Cool. Close that down. And hey, what's up, Be Righteous? How you doing? What's going on, Brandon? Hopefully you guys are having a good night. Hopefully y'all are enjoying and gonna have a fun weekend. Hey, Sarah, how you doing? I think Chris might join us playing some Minecraft over on Twitch. So let me just actually put a pinned comment in here. HTTPS, which work to game, more streams, and good times. Boop, and then I'll pin that. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. All right. Cool. Well, as people trickle in, Wes, are you? Do you want to run any Void Arc or Rabinaster? Because I need several of those runs. That's the step that I'm on. And he's still muted. All right. Let me go ahead and put up the duty finder, party finder. And let me go ahead and say recruit for some raids. And we'll go with Royal City, objective, completion, and we're going to say farming the relic raid step. Hey, Chris. You able to hear me? Just making sure that I'm not crazy.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. It's like all of a sudden I'm not getting any Discord sound, but everybody's hanging out in here. And I put a pinned comment. So you're going to be streaming on Twitch doing some Minecraft?
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. Oh, am I?
Yep.
I should probably switch to my healer. That's what I actually want to play. White Mage. Nice. What job? Hey, what's up, Squintina? Not just a YouTube stream, but we also have Chris going over on Twitch as well. So we're just gonna be hanging out tonight, just chilling, having fun. That's the goal.
Yeah. I gotta reset my password for Minecraft because who knows how long it's been.
Yeah.
I have it written down in like a password protected document where I keep like game passwords that for games I don't play very often. And so it has like some mobile apps I played over the years, and like it's just like a random little password protected document that I keep. And the one that's in the document's out of date.
Now, the Rude Boy Gaming says, this or Guilty Gear Strive. I'm torn on that too, Rude Boy. The Guilty Gear, like I honestly, that's one of the things that I'm looking for the most when I'm not so busy with diapers, is getting my kids into fighting games. What's up, Rock? How you doing, dude?
Not much. Better to have them fight with games than with each other.
Well, I gotta teach them how to wrestle. You know, so I've been working on that. Julie got mad at me because I was like wrestling with the boys, and she's like, "We don't want to teach them how to wrestle." It's like they're gonna have to learn. Like, they're gonna go out in the world, and people are gonna just randomly try to throw them down. Like that was in your experience in middle school. Random people wanting to wrestle you. Girls are weird.
I'm back. Sorry about that. Had a family aggro.
Welcome back. No worries. I have a party finder up if any of you guys want to jump in. I'm going to just do some like Void Arc and Ravenaster runs. No pressure to join at all, but I figured I'd open it up for a few minutes, run in, and then I'm going to keep trying to farm these bad boys and get this step done so I can start doing some DR and...
Yeah. I finished mine yesterday. Actually, 2 days ago.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah, I may jump on it a little bit, but right now I'm just watching TV and chilling.
Very nice, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pop myself into it now. Royal City, and the So if you guys get on want to run, let's do it. Otherwise, I haven't even touched a Zandalore, but one of the reasons why I'm like been hesitant on jumping in is like I still feel like I need to finish this relic step so that I can kind of get more into those other pieces of it, and maybe I'm mistaken.
No, you have to finish, if you're on the 36 raid step of heck.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to finish that before he'll let you, because you can go do DR right now if you're just trying to go for the gear sets, like the Law and Order gear sets.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to actually do the relic, then yeah, you got to do those 36 raids, or the other option is Blue Mage spam into the Stormblood Fates.
Yeah. How fast does the Blue Mage spam and Stormblood?
Well, it's still like a 20% drop rate.
Oh, so it's so you could. It's a bummer because even with that drop, that's the one thing about the fate system in the game that just feels frustrating. When it's connected to when you look at Zandalore and Bozja, those zones, even if you do accept it, you're still there, so you get credit. But in the general game, if you accept you're in queue and you're doing a fate, if you can't complete the fate, you end up not getting those rewards. So there's this kind of torn mentality that I've got with that. And thanks for following us on Twitter. I was like, couldn't even think of the platform. Squitina, thanks for coming in and saying hi. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's because I talked with Mione on his stream probably 3 days ago, before that promotion nonsense yesterday.
It's a good them teaming up with Twitch is a great thing.
It's a good thing. It's a great thing. But the fact of the matter is, it still caused all this huge amount of drama. That's what I'm talking about. The nonsense is all the drama that it incurred from it.
Yeah,
I think it is a good thing. I'm disappointed y'all weren't chosen, but it's still a good thing. It's still a good promotion. Maybe y'all will be included later on, but it's supposed to go for how many months?
Until August.
August 24th.
Yeah.
So maybe y'all get added into the later time. I don't know, but I say
probably not for posting on it.
Yeah,
us doing what we do best, and we talked and even Claire was like, "Y'all have to post on this because it
My
would
wife
be
said, if you post on it, you won't be included." And I said, "Yes." So do I not post on it? She said, if you don't post on it, that you'll be mad because this is what you guys do. And I said, "Yes." She goes, so you have to post on it, and you have to know that it's going to exclude you.
That's just who we are. Yeah, and that's
okay.
That's okay.
Off we go.
And I look at it as, I look at what y'all done over the past year. You got partnered.
Mm-hmm.
You got enough numbers to get partnered and get recognized on Twitch.
And then Chris has continued to grow those numbers. In a weird way, I remember when 100 just seemed like this massive number, and it is. I say that and note that anybody who's an affiliate and they're just busting their hump, it is an achievement. And then I look over at Chris and he's like, yeah, 350. like, wow, I could never have imagined that being a number that we would be achieving in 2021. So thank you, Wes. That freaking means a lot, dude.
Yeah, because you've accomplished that. You accomplished that on your own, and quite frankly, I look for some of those streamers there. This is to help get them notoriety. This will get them recognized.
It beyond any of the incentives. It is like it's kind of like just the tip of the hat, you know, like
yeah.
And in my honest opinion, like that's, I don't know, like it's the insecure human part of my brain, you know, that's like, man, I don't know, like even like a tip of the hat would have been, oh, they know who I am. You know,
yeah, they know who you are, and my viewpoint on this is you've already accomplished at the point where you don't really need it.
Kind of, that's what I think Chris and I said. I don't know if we said that in the video, but it's like they're at a point where it's like we were talking about like how actors, and we're not like in this kind of industry, but where they'll be busting their hump and like they can't get even a free biscuit at a restaurant, but then they make it and they're famous, and then nobody will let them pay for anything. It's like, where's this weird? There's a weird line.
And yeah, but I look at you guys have already made. You're good enough to be in that group. It's unfortunate it didn't happen, but you have accomplished.
I'm not actually mad about us. Like, if you want to promote the game and you do a simple Google search and you find Final Fantasy XIV is dying or what Guild Wars is doing that Final Fantasy isn't, like I get it. I get it. You know, if you're trying to honor Pride Month and you don't want to put our two faces in the mix to represent diversity, like I get it. There's 1,000 different ways.
Two white Texas
you want to pick somebody that was partnered sooner than February? Logical. You want to pick somebody that has a developed WoW base? Logical. Like, there are all of these different ways that I can make a list that we're not on, but all of those lists include people who are big, who are partnered, who are brand safe, who have partnered with brands before, so they're vetted. They can be trusted with this sort of thing. They don't talk about negativity on stream. They are a wonderful starting point for people coming into the community, and they were not included. And so that's where it shifted from like, is this my own ego, to like, no, I'm just upset.
Yeah.
And it's just a feeling. It's a great thing. It's a great thing.
Yeah, and it's rightfully so. But I say I look at what you guys have accomplished, and you should be proud of that.
Yeah.
And that's what I would rather focus on and say, hey, Chris and Brian have accomplished this amount, gotten these milestones. We should be proud and accept those milestones.
Yeah, thank you, Wes. You know, like, and that's the thing. It's like, it's a choice. We have to mentally choose that right now, because it's like when you look at it, like you said, like rationally, like, oh my gosh, like this has been an incredible year. Like, we've been really, like, you know, busting our hump, and at the same time, like, you know, the community's shown up for us. Like, I've got nothing but like excitement and respect for those who got on the list. I just wish my my silly, like, I guess, you know, monkey brain would not, you know, have the react, like, just that, like, because as Chris and I said in our video, it's like I start asking myself questions that I don't have answers to, and I'm just basically trying to distract myself, so I'm not asking myself like those kind of questions, because they're not productive. They don't do me any good. They don't do me any favors. They don't help the community in any way. And it's like, okay, like how do I, and
none of them are actionable, right?
Right.
Like if it's like, oh well, did they not pick us because there's two of us? Well,
right.
That's not going to change. Did they not pick us because of something, you know, Brian's doing? Well, I like what Brian's doing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so like none of it's actionable. There's nothing healthy about letting that inner monologue just run entirely rampant.
Hey Tom, hey Sonic, hey Jorah, how you doing?
So it was it's a good thing to be acknowledged that it was a real feeling, and because it wasn't alone, we did want to share it with other people so they don't feel alone. They're not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, you know, at least as far as like the content we publish goes now, okay, we said our piece. We've recorded the next post. The next post is 14 based. It's positive about 14. It's a great freaking game, and let's just get back to doing what we were doing before.
Yeah.
And you're also the fact that y'all are not only a 14 content creator.
Right.
You're a multi-game content creator.
And that's where it's like, well, there's other multi-game creators on the list, so it's like every kind of thing where it's like, well, is it because of X? And it like, okay, oh wait, no, it's not because of X, but yeah. And that's where, like, I've always, and that's kind of like my counter thing. If like that was the thing, it's like, but Yoshi P tells us to do that.
Yeah.
I'm following Yoshi P's advice here.
A lot of people put forward why they think they weren't included, and there are
Thinking.
people on that list that have the same thing. So,
Yeah.
and there is no list that could have included everybody. There just isn't.
Whoever made that list, I feel for him. I honestly do.
And maybe that's why. Maybe that list was made by multiple people, and each person only got to put 2 or 3 names on it, and that's why it's a weird freaking list. I don't know. Maybe it was 3 people from Twitch, 3 people from, a couple different parts of Square Enix. I don't know. And, like, it's not their job to tell us, but we are used to an incredible amount of communication, and we are used to that if we don't like something in 14, we are allowed to tell them we don't like it, and they come out and they say, hey, either it is what it is, but here's why, which I appreciate, or they say, we hear you, we agree with you, and there's nothing we can do, right? Things like Vera hats, I get it. Or we hear you, we agree with you, and we're going to change it. And all 3 of those are good outcomes. So, like, I'm glad we're talking about it, but it does have to end at some point. Like, we have to go back to the fact that this is a good promotion, that a week ago we were all happy with this community, and like, a good promotion came out, and for some reason, good plus good it doesn't feel good.
Right. But yeah, thank you guys so much for the kind words. That has really kind of helped. And I feel silly. I feel silly that I have that feeling, because like, it just.
Oh yeah,
like,
I feel like a child that I cried 4
like,
times over not being included in a list about a good thing when I'm doing just fine.
In a weird
I literally
way,
have salt and pepper shakers in front of me right now.
Right, like we got sent a nice shirt. Like we've been included, and it's like, so it just feels silly, because the rational brain says, all right, great, cool promotion. Hopefully we'll be on that list at some point. And then the my middle school brain just kind of feels like,
right,
huh? Like, did I say something wrong? Did I do something wrong? Am I, like...
I mean, I'm glad it hurt a little bit. I don't want to let it drive me, but I'm glad that it hurt, because it's a sign that it matters.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, we're not androids. Last time we checked too. I have to run that propagation routine to make sure that I have not turned into it. Oh God, no, a routine. Maybe I am one.
You only know if you're one if 2 scare you.
2 scare me. I'm afraid. Oh God, like Bender, like where he would dream his nightmares. Oh, it's a 2. That was such a great show. Time to get some raises. How crazy would it be if Reaper could drop raises? Like have a melee that could actually like be a raising melee. Would that break the game?
No, but it reminded me too much of the WoW's Death Knight, because it does have combat raises as a tank.
Yeah. I'm trying to cast. Did they just pick people who already had running sponsorships like Annie? It's possible, but I don't know how that worked. No, they didn't.
No, there is no phrase that ends with the word only that they did.
Yeah.
Because you see smaller creators such as like Hoopa, who's taken a step back, who is a LGBT variety streamer that is heavy into 14 in Pokemon. You see Mioni, who's a 14 variety, a little bit of variety streamer, who has not spent a ton of time sponsored. You see Haughty Chicken, who is a
WoW creator,
smaller WoW streamer who just started and has not done a ton of stuff with sponsorships. About half that list had under 10,000 followers at the time of the thing going live. They don't need more.
Yeah. Well, and that's yeah. And that more than anything else, like it's like, because I watched Mithri's video, and I thought he did a really good video talking about like, just his just video on it was great. Honestly, if I can get the link, I'll try to post it in the description for not Mioni, but Mithri. I don't know why I tripped over his name for a second there. But I watched.
I will say, like, he was incredibly vocal about, like, I can't believe they did this wrong, and if they invite me, I won't be a part, and like all of this.
Is that
stuff
what he's saying on Twitter?
Because
on his
he tweeted
YouTube
all that
video.
out. But then he put out another post that said, like, I haven't played this game in over a year, and so it was like, well, I don't really know why you're that upset then.
Right. No, so his
like
YouTube,
if you're following this game that
video,
closely, why aren't you playing it at all? Like a year's a long time,
right?
And so like he's done a ton in the community before, but like that in particular, I feel harder for people who are streaming this game regularly of any size, who are trying to actively
promote Endwalker,
YouTube video than somebody who's
says,
like, I haven't played since 5.3,
right?
And they're like, I can't believe I'm not being included in this 5.55.
His that's what his YouTube video summarizes though. It's not like he's like, no, I'm not even playing the game. Like I'm looking at, you know, and he didn't end up listing names, but it was just like he's like, this is a great deal that they're doing it with Twitch. So like basically what we've kind of echoed, but that's why I was like, I actually really enjoyed his take from his. I haven't
I
seen
liked
his
when
tweets.
he used to post on 14 a lot. He used to post. He posted guild making guides for a while.
Oh yeah.
He used to post a lot. He's done a ton of other variety. He's partnered with a ton of other brands.
He's also a Square Enix partner.
He's gone and done a ton of things. He has a ton of industry contacts. He went on that big stretch where he streamed for like 800 days straight or whatever, 500 days straight, and he just partnered with Ubisoft or like, I mean, he's done a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
But for 14 specifically, like he said, I haven't done this in a year, and if I was invited now, I wouldn't want to be included anyway. And like, those are two comments. It's like, well, hopefully you're not too attached to the outcome then, because like,
yeah, don't invite me.
That's
like,
a really self-fulfilling prophecy. Tweeting that out is a really good way to be
if
like,
Square said,
right,
"Hey, work the game. Do you want to be a part of this?" I'd be like, "Yeah,
yes,
100%."
Somebody goes, "Well, I appreciate that you guys aren't shills," and I was like,
No,
"We promote the game now. If you're asking me if I would like to be paid to do the same thing I'm already doing,
yeah,
yes." If my favorite burger joint wants to pay me to eat burgers there, I'll do that too. Like, that sounds great. Right now I'm paying them. Right now I'm paying Square Enix. Right now I pay Square Enix for a subscription every single month. And we want to turn this thing around so I can keep doing the same thing. That sounds awesome.
And I'm going to be the counter voice there as someone who has worked on something that he liked doing.
Yeah.
That sometimes when you work at something so much, you want to do something different when you're not working.
Very true.
So
I have been doing nothing but coding and just working insane hours this last couple weeks. And Julie asked me what I wanted to do tonight, and I go, I want to do nothing else but play Final Fantasy. Like, that's what I want to do. I have not had a moment to play video games, like, outside of just, like, her and I stealing, like, some Peggle time. And I'm like,
what are you doing right now?
I'm playing Final Fantasy 11.
What are you doing in the game?
I'm running Rabbit Esther. So I'm just working on Relic. I'm just hanging out with you guys, talking Final Fantasy. It's great. Feels good. It feels just... Oh, I would cuss, but I'm on YouTube. Feels effing incredible. It just feels good. Like, it's a freaking good game. And I look at it and say, I said 11. I have been playing 11. Oh, 14. 11's amazing too. I haven't had time to play. I'm like a level 25 monk on 11 and a level 5 fisher. I would love...
Getting left behind, man. You had a whole group with you.
They're like crushing it. I talked to Randy and he's like, I got to level 50 on my red mage. I go, man, I suck.
They all still playing together?
Yeah. I was talking with them. I was talking with them on Monday.
You gotta get after it, man. You gotta just...
I gotta take care of the family. That's just what I gotta do. Like, yeah.
You just gotta find a way to...
If the kids get older, maybe you'll see
11
me
on a tablet.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that'd be sick.
I have no idea why it wouldn't run on a tablet.
It could. I could get a
get a keyboard and mouse and sit down with a tablet on
I could get a I could get a like one of the Surface tablets. I bet that'd run 11 without any problem. Oh,
well,
dude, fishing in 11's great. It's so great.
How does fishing from 11 differ from fishing from 14?
It seems slightly more complicated, but it's super simple. Like, you have a couple text messages that kind of pop up, and you pay attention to that, and then you do left or right depending on how the game's responding to weaken the fish before you can reel it in. There's no, like, 14's got way more complexity and with mooching and with all that stuff. But the thing about it is that 11's got that player-driven economy. So even at level 0 as a fisher, you could be like making crazy money because there's always this massive demand for material, because vendor items are just so absurdly overpriced. So it's like, yeah, you definitely want people farming that stuff up. So I've been making crazy money just leveling my fisher, which has been wonderful. Yeah, you can also fish up monsters that can kill you in 11. But you don't also switch to it, so I'm like out as a monk, and then it's like if I'm waiting for a party, I just kind of like, zzz, toss it out. I don't know, like, I wish that we would see them combine the subs for 11 and 14, and then if they brought like 11 back in a way, like that would be really, really sick, really cool.
Modded Minecraft is
thank you.
The longest load screens you could possibly run into.
Yeah.
Because what it is like, so a native game. So imagine every add-on is a person that has to come into the kitchen and make their dish.
Yeah.
And so modded Minecraft, when you run big mod packs like this that have, how many mods does this one have in it? Does it tell me?
Oh god, gotta run.
Total number of mods. Let's imagine this one's like 100 mods. Not uncommon.
Okay.
So imagine you asked 100 people to come into the kitchen, get out whatever they need to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, make their sandwich, and then put it all back away.
Yeah.
And then the next person is allowed to come in one at a time. The number of times that the bread has to come out and go away, the jelly has to come out and go away, the peanut butter has to come out and go away, they're all making the same sandwich. And then at the end,
yeah,
they have one person that comes in and says, the game won't run like this. So they have another round of things, because that's how all the add-ons, they're all bolted on. Every add-on doesn't know what other add-ons will be installed in the packs that it's included in. So some of them are literally, like, you have 27 different add-ons showing up at this kitchen with their own peanut butter, their own knives, their own spoons. It's insane. And so then somebody else comes in and says, hey, I noticed that we all packed for a trip, and we've all been using this kitchen, and we all packed for a trip, and we're bringing 137 containers of peanut butter. Can we all agree to just bring maybe like 1 or 2? And so then it has to go back in and dig all those replicants out. So modded Minecraft is just a, it's just a mess.
Yeah, and Chad's saying that maybe, and Kippy says maybe that's their surprise for the 20th anniversary. 20th anniversary Final Fantasy 11 kicking off next year. So it's going to be interesting to see what that entails, what happens with that, because I think that's going to be exciting. I don't want to put too much hope on that. I don't want to put too much pressure on them delivering something that I end up being mad about, Like, oh, they didn't do the thing I wanted. Well, they never said they were, Brian. They never said they were going to do the thing you wanted.
So now it's spinning up the world. Once the world's up, that boots pretty fast each time. When I'm playing Minecraft with friends, like when we're playing on a server and we're going to play a couple nights a week, I'll boot it up at the start of the week, and then I'll leave that client running in the background of my computer, just not logged into the game, all week. Just to avoid the 10-minute spin-up time of like booting up the game. And like when you lose power or something, you're like, I got to restart my computer. You're like, oh no. Because it takes, 4 minutes for your computer to come up and 35 minutes to boot Minecraft.
Oh no.
Somebody's like, well, do you want to play for a bit? No, I got to boot it up. You might as well just play with me tomorrow.
Luke, thanks, man. Thank you very much for that support, dude. Appreciate it.
So, it's just different.
Hello.
What's up, AK? How you doing, man? Oh, God, I get out of this
Doing all
one?
right.
Oh, man. Sometimes I get out of things, and then the game's like, yeah, you got out of that. And sometimes I get out of things, and the game's like, no, man, you did not get out of that. And it's like, all right, I don't know what to do.
Add source. Okay. Minecraft. And then go over here and say...
Oh, man, they wasted the Dragoon, man.
Specific window.
Why is it all... Like, it's a meme, but at the same time, it feels so true.
Well, we're the shot.
Do y'all know where LOL Dragoon came from, though?
Mike, 19 months. And Caden,
7
7 months.
Thank you, Mike.
Guys.
Thanks, guys.
Oh my god.
Brian's hanging out over on...
Yeah, I'm on YouTube right now.
YouTube.
Hanging out with 82 people here
Brian.
on YouTube. Holy crap.
Playing 14.
21 likes.
About to
Thank you
hop on
guys
right
so
now.
much. Oh yeah, I'm running some. I got to farm up. Trying to get this this raid relic step done.
It's a big
Oh,
step.
definitely. Yeah, that's an addiction of mine.
Yeah,
The relics. I don't know what it is.
I've never finished
I just
one.
keep-
I've never finished one. Like it's
Me neither.
It's always been like okay, and then it's like, but then I get distracted or bored or whatever, and it's like okay. But now I'm like I'm gonna get this done. Maybe I got a lot of time, right? Endwalker's not tomorrow.
Yeah, you got plenty of time.
This could be my first relic, boys. I mean, I'm nowhere close, but still making that bacon.
Yeah.
So what Mike is asking, what job would I suggest for new players on one that's maybe not super complicated? I would start you on Archer, and then as you level up, you'll actually unlock other jobs that you can try that'll start at higher levels. But Archer gives you a lot of mobility. It gives you a lot of flexibility. And it could put out some good damage. So I think the mobility of it is very, I guess, easy for players to get into from a DPS perspective. Now, that is just my generic, here's the answer, right? I would follow up more, Mike, with what is your gaming experience? What do you like to play? And then I would like to tailor, I try to tailor it more custom to you, the player, being that we're actually having a live, real conversation.
SB. I think that's good.
Ooh, pizza on the smoker, Tom. When am I coming over for some of that? That sounds delicious.
You missed the Guild Wars stream today? Guys, today in Guild Wars, all I did was jump puzzles and the new event.
Oh, Guild
Alright.
Wars.
Yeah, I need to finish leveling my Elementalist in Guild Wars, and then I want to finish off Mesmer, and then essentially I figured I'd talk about the casters, and then I'd move through the other classes. That's my Guild Wars plan.
The jump puzzles are a blast. The jump puzzles are so much fun, and I've never been a platformer kind of guy, so that's new. That's new. I have not played Minecraft in probably a couple years. I kind of go through waves where I'll play it a lot. Maybe a year.
Yeah. What I'd love to see you do is like kind of how you had the housing stream. I'd love to see you build like you said, Old Charlayan in Minecraft. Because you've done like crazy city builds and things like that, and we've never known how to like put that on YouTube. We've tried, and it's like, well, okay, but it's like, come hang out and watch while Chris builds Charlayan in Minecraft.
The problem is it takes a really long time.
Yeah.
73 hours for a housing stream is small potatoes compared to a modded pack.
Yeah.
Modded survival is just slow.
Wow.
Well, the question is, would you do survival or could you do creative, right?
I really like survival.
Yeah, we actually got the kids' pizza tonight, King. So we went to Papa Murphy's because they have a gluten-free crust. You guys don't know, like my sons, like me, we just cannot process gluten, and so what the hell? What are we doing? I don't remember this mechanic. Okay. I do not remember this mechanic. Just got a kite. So
wait till the Halloween event. I am looking forward to seeing. I mean, Guild Wars is set up uniquely to do a really epic job with events because they're laterally progressed. So it can stay relevant. And so every year, if they wanted to, they could make the event bigger and bigger. And it doesn't even have to be designed when it's first introduced to be clearable the first year. They can say like, well, and so like there's very few events. Like I think World of Warcraft has like Children's Week where you kind of are designed to do it a couple times before you get them all.
Yeah.
And they can take it a whole lot further. Final Fantasy's neat because they do them all
okay.
each time, right? So
Yeah.
like every time you see an event, it's the first time.
Right.
They don't repeat, so you get these stories. And what's really nice about it is if you don't like one, like last winter, it was all about like COVID. Not my favorite, right? Like I was like, no, I got plenty of that, thank you.
Yeah.
It doesn't come back around.
Right.
But what's sad about that is it doesn't come back around, and so you're not building. Sad about that. So I think players a lot of times are frustrated that the game can't develop at the pace they can consume, but a lot of that is because all of this stuff is they're spending all this time building something that only gets consumed once, as opposed to building a library where, like, when the game is new, it's behind, but after it's, let's say a couple expansions old, it should be getting older and older, and more developed. And that's something that, like, can you imagine if there was as many Guild Wars 2 expansions as there are WoW expansions? Like, the game would be overwhelmingly big.
Now Mike says, I'm not completely new. I actually have a Sam at 80. No other jobs at 80 though. Sam seems like it does good damage for me, but I just wonder it would be better off with a different job. Honestly, at the end of the day, Mike, I would definitely encourage you to step into other jobs to get a feel for it. You can kind of Crystal Tower in a way, like, kind of, like, just note that I'm saying it's like, it's not a perfect solution. Man, come on, Brian, pay attention. Oh, I had it. There we go. Where it's like, where you can kind of get a feel. It's not a perfect feel when we talk Heaven on High and Crystal Tower, but it is an option nonetheless. And what I mean by that is that the job that's going to be best, the job that does the best damage, the job that does, like, that you're going to enjoy the most is the job that you have the most fun playing. Every time people slap people around with the meta, people will go and, like, make meta worshippers look silly, because there was a time where Dark Knight was the LOL tank, and then somebody is the first person to clear ultimate on a Dark Knight. Thing is that person loves playing that job. So, like, that's kind of the real key thing. The only real way then is to kind of say, like, well, what are you looking for? Because you got a Sam at 80. I honestly think Sam is an incredible job. Like, I love Samurai. And if it was if I did more melee DPS, that would be probably what I would play. But I don't really tend to go in the melee style, as you can see me playing a healer right now. So it's that, we're all going to have our personal preference in that regards. And then I'm going to open up Party Finder over here on YouTube if anybody wants to join in.
So right now what I'm doing, and thank you, I appreciate everybody coming in and saying that you like our YouTube content. It means a lot this week to hear that. We're happy to welcome people into the game. We will continue to do so. What I'm doing right now is I'm establishing myself for the first night. So everything I've done so far is pretty vanilla stuff, but I'm already seeing items pop into my inventory that are not vanilla, and I've never played this mine pack, so I've never played this pack particularly, so, like, I'll know what some of them do, but not others.
Did I not come? There we go. Comment.
All right. Who am I streaming with? Right now, just our Discord community. People are just coming in and hanging out, and I am playing solo here, while Brian actually is over on Ginger Prime, his YouTube channel, streaming 14.
Boom, boom. Also
there
hanging out in the chat. Yep. And in fact, if you guys don't, if you just have discovered Chris on Twitch, Chris also posts on YouTube as well. Imagine that. Hey guys.
Oh no. Oh no. Torches in this pack wear out. Oh, this is bad news. This is bad news. Okay. That changes things a little. So I put that torch down and expected it to last. Mistake.
All right.
We need a lot more wood to make it through the first night then. Oh gosh. That is unfortunate. Here. Okay.
Objective none. And we're going to say recruits.
They didn't give me, like, a quest book to start with, so I assume there's a keybind that'll open up some quests to maybe, like, give me a hint where they think I need to go from here.
Yeah. I really appreciate that, Jedi. Jedi says, Brian, I hear you've been having a busy couple of weeks, so I wanted to say I appreciate your content too. It really means a lot. The fact, like, privately, I've just like, I have not been playing games. I just have not had the time. And I literally got the kids to bed and then was playing Legos with Annie. Because, like, one of the things that I really try to make an effort at is spending time with the kids. Like, that's, in my mind, my priority over everything. And I was playing Legos with Annie, and then I'm like, you know what? Dad's going to lay down on the couch for, like, a minute. All the other kids were, like, asleep. And so it's probably, like, 7. This is probably 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. And Julie took Maddie to go set up for Vacation Bible School up at the church. And I fell asleep on the couch, and I woke up, and Julie was back with Maddie. And then when she was trying to put the girls to sleep, and she was just like, "Just go to bed." I'm like, "My gosh," I was just super tired. I've been usually getting up about 5 in the morning. I've been working out every morning. I've been doing and then I've been going to work pretty daggum early because they're like, in a good thing, we just have a lot of contracts right now. As the world kind of comes back up online, people are like, "Oh man, we put this thing off long enough. We need to build out this API or this blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Okay." We definitely did not make, what we normally make a year last year, so we had to dip into savings a bit, but we're kind of trying to, build that back up, and this is the perfect opportunity to do that. Like what Chris said to me once, and I think apparently other people have said it. I've never heard it before. He said it, but like when it's sunny, like make wheat or something. So,
make hay while the sun shines.
There it is. I was like, I never heard that phrase before.
It's a phrase in Texas.
I literally never heard it until you said it, and I was like, but I have not stopped hearing it since you said it. From other people, like, all of a sudden I was like, were people saying this? And I literally just had it filtered out of my brain, never heard of it.
So what's going on with this channel? So Ginger Prime is Brian's personal channel. Mine is Gaming Kinda. He streams there sometimes, especially if he's streaming like during my core hours. I don't stream to Gaming Kinda. So when I said I wanted to go live tonight and he said he wanted to go live, this is the way we do it.
Yeah.
We don't stream to the Work to Game channel anymore. That's part of an agreement with Twitch when you get partner. So our personal channel is a little different, but when we're acting as a collective, we keep it on Twitch. Even if we're going to go publish it to YouTube after the 24-hour window.
Awesome, Mike. I'll wait for you.
But here, Brian, to see me, I'm just listening. During the day, you guys see me talk continuously because there's nobody to share the comms with. So.
And it's a skill. Like, Chris is like really good at it. Like I did. Chris had you kind of had an emergency something, and I kind of filled in for 2 days. And speaking of which, guys, like I was talking with Julie. Looks like I'm going to be able to kind of come in and step in, but I'm still probably going to do just a 4-hour block. Like the fact that you do like 6 hours, I was like, whew, I'm 4 hours. I'm like, oh man, I need to, my throat. Like, it's a muscle that you just have to exercise if that's, being live and talking that much.
All right.
And Venom,
so
what's
this
going
torch
on,
didn't
dude?
seem to go out. I wonder if I broke that other one or if I put it on something that it can't be on. Because that one hasn't gone out.
If you search Bryn, Mike, and as long as you're on Aether, under Party Finder, and I'm not a private party right now, I'm just open party, so Party Finder, you up
Sounds
here.
like I'll just make stone torches, but I prefer not to.
Yeah, I'm up. You gonna put your boy to bed and take a shower? Thanks for the lurk, I appreciate it. Any and all lurks, we love lurkers.
All right.
Yeah.
I hadn't done one of these in a while. I mean, when I'm not streaming, like yesterday I worked until literally 2 a.m. It's like when I'm not streaming, there's usually other stuff to get done. And right now there's definitely other stuff to get done. There are probably 16 YouTube videos uploaded to Gaming Kinda that have not been tagged, titled, scheduled, and thumbnailed. There are some things that I need to get into envelopes and get into the mail. There are, some people I need to reach out to for various things that we have upcoming. There are things that need to get done. This week, not really through anybody's intentional fault. It wasn't aimed to make my week bad, but this week could have gone better. And so I just wanted to play some games. I do that throughout the week. I played Rocket League this week. I played Surviving Mars this week. I've played Guild Wars and Final Fantasy, both off stream this week. But usually I play those with a friend or while I'm listening to TV. Tomorrow I want to listen to the Allcraft with Zepla and Asmund. But I wanted to hang out with you guys. And best way to do that's live. Go. So Brian needs to get his relic caught up because he is way behind.
I haven't even stepped foot in Sandalore, and it hasn't been that, like, honestly, I've gotten no stress from 14 because I'm like, I've done everything that I've set out to do. In fact, actually, while we're waiting in queue, there we go, boom, boom. I'm gonna just keep fishing. I'm just gonna go find a little hole, throw out the old fishing rod, and reel and see if I can reel in some fish and finish off leveling Fisher. But yeah, I feel like I'm more prepared for the expansion this time already. Like, I was already prepared, like, even in November. So it's like, this has just been me where in the past, I, kind of just chipped away at it, right? And so being that I was able to get, like, we did a push for partner over the summer where I was kind of the primary face on stream because I would just get up and I would just, during the summer when I didn't have to take kids to school, I was like, yep, I'm up in the morning, stream the morning slot, level, done. And all of a sudden I was like, great, I got everything leveled. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, what do I do now? So I wanna finish off leveling in Phantasy Star Online 2. I want to finish leveling at Guild Wars. And I have to, honestly, what I just need to do is I just need to pick a task and then I focus on it. That's just how I get things done. So I just need to pick what is the priority, and I just focus in on that. Because New Worlds beta drops on July 20th. I've taken 2 days off work for that because I'm going to play the hell out of that. And then I took, I think, 4 days off for its release. So that way I can really just kind of sink my teeth into it. And then I took a week off because it's Endwalker and Thanksgiving, which is both awesome and awful.
It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys are having a good night. Hopefully it's a good start to your weekend. If you get to take Saturdays and Sundays as your weekend.
So to do the relic steps in this one to get started, like, you actually have to finish off the Alliance raid from Stormblood. So if you haven't done the Ivalice raid, that's something you're going to need to do first and foremost. And then essentially it kicks off, I think, from it's called the zone is called Gangos, but it's connected to the Doman Enclave. So like there's things that you have to do to really get that done.
That's an OBS setting, I think, too. I think I need to probably address I keep meaning to do that when I'm offline. Address my OBS settings and see if I can turn my latency down. You have to be offline to do it, so not something I've had an interest in doing.
Okay.
Like shutting my stream down mid-stream, but, probably something I should do. Okay, so I need...
Oh, I got frozen. I didn't see that ice skater going around. But the 15 DR runs has been nerfed. So this is still the big step, which is kind of like,
it is the big step.
So it's like, all right, but I'm getting it done. I've got I think I need 10 more Rabs and 11 more Voids. So we're just gonna keep queuing, just gonna keep knocking them out. And then I want to do some Blue Mage stuff. So it's like, honestly, I think, oh man, I don't know. We'll just maybe I'll start living off of polls, on YouTube. Like, what do you guys want
careful with
the
that.
most?
That's where my PSO2 character came from.
I only put in options that I'm willing to do.
I did only put in options.
You're more generous. Yeah.
I did not anticipate them being combined in quite that way. Have I been playing TVC at all? I have. Not much. But I have a character. A warrior. Okay, so we've got some iron. We're basically just waiting for the first night to end. I have no idea. They did not... So they gave me...
Yes, this is the
Blueprints
first.
and Astral Tome. That's all they gave me.
Yeah.
I don't know what add-ons I have. Alright, so we've got Mechanism. Is anything locked behind weird stuff? No. Okay. Sometimes packs modify recipes so that the add-ons like really piece together, and that makes it substantially more complicated because then you usually have to do the mods in whatever order the. There's only 29 pages. There's not actually that many. So, let me just. We're not gonna do Stream Raiders tonight. You're lazy and scared, so you haven't started the deliverance step. Well, they've made it. You have to do it way less times, and they've made it where like everybody else is super overpowered. So don't worry about it.
Hey.
Go in there on whatever job you want because it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And go on whatever job you're comfortable, and just know you're gonna die. That's okay.
What's up, Tarkoth? How you doing tonight? I don't know.
We do have Britannia. We have Britannia. Do we have
Yeah, doing one a day, you just kind of chip away at it. Like I think a lot of the problem comes into, and it's just the human nature of it. Like, oh, all right, people just kind of burn it down, burn it down, burn it down. And I think the balance here is that Chris is, he's been able to get this knocked out by just, doing, a little bit every stream that he was doing this stuff on, and he's probably going to have a couple relics. Where
I'll have 4 battle relics.
Where I might just have 1. I've gotten all of them at the starting step, because that was something that I was like, okay, Poetics, got it, let's do it,
Kind of wish I picked a bigger pack. Not enough so that I'm going to start over, but... What do I have as far as world? Do I have marble? I do.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Dude, you're a legend being up at 4 in the morning. I couldn't sleep last night. I honestly almost did come in and start streaming just to do whatever, but I forced myself to say, give myself one more chance to go to bed. And then I did fall asleep.
We don't have applied energistics. I don't know that I can finish a pack without applied energistics. No, this is Valhesia. I'd never played it. What do I have anything for storage? I don't know that I can play anything without digital storage.
Good night, dude. Oh man, you're like a...
How many hours do I think it'd take to get a relic from scratch? Oh gosh, it's still a big number. It's still a big number. Not nearly what it was, but it's a big number. It could be refined storage. You're right. It could be refined. There it is. Refined storage. I can do refined storage. That's fine. That's old AE. That's great. Refined storage is great.
They're meant to be a grind, but there's certain steps they cut out for the second and, additional. So you have time. Like, you've got more than enough time to get a relic if you want a relic. It's going to be glamour faster than it took you to get it. But so think of it as an optional piece of fun content. You're gonna have it. It's gonna be the best weapon in the game for a little while.
Got you. Thank you so much for gifting subs.
Oh, thanks, Gotchus.
Look at you guys. All right. Is it daytime? It is daytime. Great. Oh, it is. Hello, hello, hello. I don't have a sword or anything. I don't really want to die either.
Yeah.
I haven't done Minecraft combat in a long time.
PSO2 is a free game. They occasionally do things with it on Game Pass. I don't know if there's a current Game Pass promotion with PSO2, but I highly recommend it. It's not like gonna. I honestly look at PSO2
on fire.
And it's just an enjoyable experience. Could it be better? Could they do more? Yeah, but I think it's a really awesome brand new starting point for a game. So I'm currently not even premium sub to PSO2. I figured I will kind of wait and see what if New World ends up hooking me with. Based off of my preview experience, I'm really excited for that game. But that's not any kind of statement of it that whether it's going to be good or not. I have picked winners and I have picked duds.
We're hunting. This is a whole lot easier than like Valheim hunting.
Yeah, dude, I love Valheim. like, I need to check out some of the latest updates because they keep improving it. But it's just another game that I wish I had time to play. Like, it's, one of these days, to the moon, Alice.
All right.
What's up, Beastly? Oh, dude, PSO2 on Dreamcast, on GameCube, on Xbox. I mean, PSO in this case, not 2. That'd be kind of nuts. It traveled back in time. But my goodness. First time here. Well, welcome to the channel, Beastly. What had you click on the video? Or the stream? Yeah, it's just a plain free game. Like, I don't feel compelled to spend money. I tend not to engage in systems of chance.
L's gifting a sub. Thank you.
Thanks for that gifted sub, man. I appreciate that.
You guys are hearing Brian right now, who's live over on Gaming Kinda. If you type !Brian, you'll find him. We're going to be pretty cowardly as I kind of explore this pack here. The cowardly way to play here is to hide myself behind a nice, big, beautiful wall.
Well, is there anything I can do? Oh, you started playing recently, Beastly. Very nice. Welcome to Final Fantasy XIV. If you have any questions, please let me know. I've been playing this game for 11 years, and I'm very proud of that. So, it's been a joy. I've been covering it in terms of content creation for that long. It's kind of funny because if I had hindsight being 2020, like if I started posting my podcast on YouTube, who knows? Maybe maybe I would be at 150,000. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, man. Thank you. Thanks for checking out the stream. If you got any questions, we got answers.
I have not spent a ton of time in the hunt system. It's never been something that I've wildly engaged with.
Hunts are fantastic when you're leveling up any kind of DPS with a Q, man. Like, they're this just, hey, are you waiting around? Well, why don't you go hunt something kind of system. And it also works well because if you get pulled into a queue, your hunt doesn't lose its progress like a fate does. And then what happens is that you do enough of that, all of a sudden you're sitting on a large amount of currency, which you can use to buy all kinds of goodies. In my case, free Aetherite porting tickets. So I'm never really spending gil on teleports.
I think somebody said you can use it on the augment stuff.
Yeah, you can augment accessories with it. I've also got the line leveling 3 hunts. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And Dark asking, any advice for a new dev straight out of school getting a job? Entry, yeah, it can be hard. If you want, feel free, hit me up in Discord and let's connect so I can take a look. We can have a deeper conversation about your resume and essentially any kind of, your portfolio that I can hopefully help get you set up. And I actually know a lot of people, and I've helped even people within the 14 community, but I'm not going to name names, but because you know of them, and I don't like to, I don't know. But if you need help, Dark, hit me up in Discord. You should be able to see me. If you don't know, if you're not a part of the Discord, just command Discord, get you right in, and let me see if we can help you get going. So, but congratulations on finishing up some school stuff, and hopefully we can get some real world experience, because that's really what people care about. It's like, what projects have you worked on? Like, I had just for an example, like, if anybody, this is probably generic career advice, but this is when I was a hiring manager at my old job, and I had these guys that came in, and I had one guy, and he was like, I want to do programming. We're looking for entry level. We were looking for, like, right off the boat, like, okay, you want to get in, you went to school, or you've done a trade school or a boot camp. We don't care. We just want somebody. We need bodies that are willing to learn, because we're going to teach you what you need to know. And one guy was like, I just kind of hang out. Like, I even asked, like, do you play video games? He's like, not really. And the other guy, I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm building a website for a friend and this and this. And he showed me kind of his mock-ups and the things that he was working on, things he was struggling with. I hired the guy that was just trying to do stuff. You know, so if you're ever like, you know, how do I get started? I don't know, ask a friend. Do they need a website or do they have an idea? Like, that's going to get you some, you know, that initiative, it goes a long way for a hiring manager, as opposed to somebody who's like, I'm really not doing anything. I had a guy who hacked Diablo 3, back when you could make money off the auction house. You guys remember this? I hired a guy to help me automate so much stuff, and he was incredible because he literally just programmed bots that would go out and get and sell gold on the auction house, and he was like, and that's how he was paying his rent while he was looking for a real programming job. I was like, oh, I need a guy who can automate crap. You're hired. And he was fantastic. We made so much progress while, and the challenge when hiring, and I always tell our CEOs, it's like, the thing is that if we don't have a reward track for these entry-level people, we're going to turn them into mid-core or even senior-level people within a couple of years. And the problem is that if you don't value that in them, Hewlett-Packard or Lockheed, or like, there's a lot of big firms that and basically they're like, thanks for training these guys. We're gonna take them from you now. It's like, you know, and that's really hard to compete against, you know, if you're not a big firm. Fatal Dragon says, I'm a WoW refugee that recently started playing 14 in your vids, especially the Machinist controller vid. Got me started using the controller instead of mouse and keyboard. Dude, repping that controller, man. You were amazing. See here. Love your content. Keep it up. Thanks, Fatal. That really means a lot. I really can't thank y'all enough. I appreciate the kind words.
I think mechanism's where I gotta go. What do I need for mechanism?
Chat's asking, how hard is it to get in this game? What say you guys here in boys?
To get started?
Yeah.
Not so bad.
In the application.
I mean, I would start with a free trial. Like, it's incredibly easy to get into the game. The question is that, like, where are you coming from in this regards, John? Because
if you're coming for another MMO, you're already ready.
Yeah, if you've already been trained, you're ready to rock and roll.
Because you're just learning what 14 is. But if you haven't, you've got to learn what an MMO is and what 14 is simultaneously. It is doable, and they designed the game with that in mind, but it is more learning.
If you're like Jogger, though, and you don't like to cry, the game can make that happen. I have cried, but it doesn't take much to make me cry. I'm a big softie. They call me a teddy bear.
Red teddy bear.
Yeah. Big ginger teddy bear. Oh, so okay, only play Destiny and PSO2. Actually, you're kind of already in good company when it comes to those games. There's going to obviously be some key differences. I love Destiny, by the way. I don't play it, and I think a lot of it is, I kind of hope right now that Destiny learns from what Halo's doing. And if you guys don't know, Halo's Battle Pass is not set to expire, and as an adult, that takes off so much pressure, because I don't engage it. Like, I think I looked at the Battle Pass system over the loot box system. I go, the Battle Pass system seems the most fair, because it tells you what you can earn if you play. And then Halo said, we're not going to take that away from you, so you can earn this stuff on your own time. And I go, okay. And it actually made me go play some Halo Reach. Just like I played, we were hanging on a Wednesday, and apparently we had Rocket League not install, or it uninstalled itself from my Xbox, because I was going to go play Rocket League with Chris. And so while I was like, you know what, I'm tired, I want to hang out, and so I played 2 rounds of Halo Reach, which was the first time I ever played Reach, and I enjoyed it. But yeah, so Destiny and Phantasy Star, those games are very similar. This leans heavier into the MMO in terms of its roots, but this is also a Final Fantasy game. So you're going to get, you know, actually multiple engrossing stories that tell a saga. So if if you like Phantasy Star, I think this will feel pretty good for you. But it's definitely not like a full-on action combat. So this is going to have, like you can see here, I've got skills left and right, and I execute those skills, and they have some of them have cooldowns, some of them are. Oh god, we did not clear that. Oh, what did we miss? I didn't even see it.
Lagging.
Apparently, like, good night. I was like, why is it still dark? This, like, I thought we had, and I was like, I guess we have a little bit more time. I thought this would be done by now. The thing with the hunts is you forget about them all the time, just like King's saying. You know, it's like, oh yeah, I can do that. I forget about them, and then like usually when I'm streaming and leveling, Chad goes, "Hey, don't forget to pick up your hunts." So I go, "Thanks, Chad." Oh, is YouTube actually giving me notifications in real time? Corey just hit subscribe. Welcome, Corey. If you guys are new to the channel, would love it if you hit subscribe. And then after you do that, go hit subscribe over on Gaming Kinda and Work to Game. And then I apologize for the amount of content that will be in your feed.
Come on, worms.
Crossplay, like that's where it not on Xbox or Stadia or any kind of announcement like that, Malcolm, makes me go like, or at least GeForce Now, like, come on, more accessibility, please. Malcolm from the North. Oh my God, did YouTube fix this finally? Thank you, Malcolm. Literally got a right, and it's not like because they've been doing this weird subscribe in blocks, like. You would never...
Yeah, like after an hour you'll get...
Oh, it's 11. Like, 11 back to back to back. But now it's like, oh, yeah, a minute ago. A few seconds ago. Holy crap, that's amazing. YouTube's finally getting to the year 2012 or something like that in terms of its streaming technology. What's frustrating for me as a developer, knowing Google's resources... and saying like, somebody made this great blueprint. It's called Mixer, and it's called like Twitch. What's the delay? Like, what's holding us up here? Because last year alone, they're like, yeah, we're gonna bring all the popular features that big other streaming platforms have. All right. And I asked today, I was like, do we have the clips feature enabled yet? And they're like, nope. Okay. Welcome back, Beasley. If I miss a question, just let me know. Just tag Ginger Prime. I'll be trying to
getting settled into a new into a new pack. You don't know what all... I didn't look up what mods were here and what weren't. I just kind of picked one and went. So I don't know what I can and cannot do. Because I played a lot of packs in my life.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Ryan, thank you so much for hitting subscribe. Welcome to the Soul Nation.
All right. Is this a quest progression? I thought so. So this is Valhesia 2, but I think it might be a more exploratory pack. Let me right here. Okay. Familiar with, some you've not played before, and some to enhance your experience. And it was listed as oh man, I hope I regenerated the right world with something interesting, but I don't know what its default is. Could be regular.
King, Excel, and Chichari, welcome.
Structures to discover, mechanism, immersive engineering, and RF tools. I might go for immersive engineering early on. Problem with immersive engineering is that freaking sap. Making all your wood into that brown wood.
Yeah. Good luck on your leveling of Monk, King. I do. I got mad respect for you on that because I did that last year. And I leveled it before the changes, and then I played it after the changes, and I enjoyed the changes, but I still don't I didn't really enjoy Monk. So I hope for Monk fans out there that they get what they want. Oh God, Ryan. Careful.
I need paper and...
I was like, I should move, and then I was like, no, the wrong direction.
So I just got started right now. I'm just trying to like stay safe. So there's a bunch of bad things out there. And if I made this little like wall, then I can live in here and be safe. So I've just hid myself away so that I don't get attacked, because I don't have a bed or anything. I don't have any way to make the night pass.
Samurai's great. Samurai is such a good job. To follow it up with, like, I would recommend either Dragoon if you want to stick within the melee, because Dragoon's gear set will play into Reaper, so that way you could end up getting a gear set for Reaper and being ready to rock and roll. Or if you want to kind of get out of the melee mindset, you can then easily jump into, I would say maybe like if you want to stick with DPS, go with Black Mage. I've often considered Samurai the Black Mage with the sword. So it's, you know, I feel like it's appropriate or fitting, but that's just me maybe. And then beyond that, like I would say, like, you know, if you're in for healing, you're gonna get a level 70 healer next expansion anyway. But White Mage is a good choice, and then if you want a tank, you already have a level 60 tank, and Gunbreaker's a lot of fun. But as Chris and I's video on Monday will be exciting, hopefully for some people, you'll find the tank options to be very good.
It's pretty forgiving. There's not a tank that can't do anything. There's 4 tanks in the game that can all clear everything. I mean, obviously, top-end people are going to measure numbers and optimize for the one that comes out ahead, but...
I've been playing White Mage right now, King, and right now it's my favorite. Thematically, I like Scholar more, but White Mage just... They homogenize the healers to the point where, why would I not take the White Mage? Because it's just, I don't know, it just feels much smoother.
All right.
Yeah, Hrothgar don't get no hats, man. I did 2 years as a lion, and
not even two full years.
When did Shadowbringers drop?
I don't know. It probably was 2 years to the day.
Probably was on the day. It's like I was like, all right. So I decided I was gonna return to my roots. So in 11 I played an elf. So it only is fitting that Bryn is back to who he was originally was created. I might create a Hroth as an alt character, because I have been kind of teasing around that if like any video that on Works a Game gets like 10,000 likes, that I'll do a full story playthrough before Endwalker. Somebody not rolling on these scrolls?
So I either want to do magical flowers, I either want to do Britannia, or
Thanks,
I want to do
Scatter.
immersive engineering, and I'm not sure. They're both a great place to start. And I'm going to need a book either way, I think, because I think it's a book plus a plant or a book plus a lever.
Thanks, Gakarit. You are a legend, dude. Like, you are a legend. I see your comments and your support of the content. It really means the world to me, dude. I can't say enough how much it means to me that you support the channel just by showing up, man.
Hopefully this wasn't important. Elder Log. I don't think Thaumcraft's in here, so I don't think there's anything that, like, I'm gonna, like, ruin. No, there's not. Okay. If Thaumcraft is in here, you have to be really careful with just going out and tearing down the world, because it will punish you.
So King says that they just got their White Mage to level 50, and they wanted to play Astrologian, but was too complicated for someone who hadn't really healed before. But Sage looks cool. If you like Astro and you want to learn it, King, play it, man. It does have its complexities, but like I talked to Wes, who's hanging out here in voice, and he helped me just like figure that out, because I was struggling with that with Astro, even with the changes too. Oh God, dude, Skaka, thank you so much, dropping a $50 super chat. Wow, man, thank you. You are a legend. He's like, no, you're a legend. Oh my God, dude.
All right.
He's on the board.
Want to see? Do you guys want to see some magical flowers, or you want to see some industrial machines? This is modded Minecraft, so for those of you that have never watched Minecraft before, you are not watching regular Minecraft. There's some crazy stuff here. This pack doesn't seem that deep. I've seen this number up here in the top that talks about how many pages of items there are available in the game be like literally hundreds. So like I've played packs that are 10 times this size. All right, you want to see some magical flowers? All right, so that's called Botania.
Botania.
You need a Lexica Botania, and it's a sapling and a book. So I'm gonna need some paper. Come run down along the coast.
Would you
suggest sugar?
So Scott's asking, would you suggest concentrating on the MSQ and then going back and doing side quests, or doing both as you level? Focusing in on the MSQ right now, Scott, is going to be the best thing that you can do for yourself. Side quests, if they have a plus symbol on the quest themselves, absolutely check those out. That's going to unlock a feature, a dying component, a glamour component, a dungeon. That's going to unlock content for you. Other side quests, I would personally ignore until at least you get into Heaven's Word, and then you can kind of play around with what you want to do at that point. But you're going to end up unlocking flying. You're going to end up unlocking other jobs to kind of play with. It is this massive gift that you're given, and it's unfortunate. And I always try to find the right way to get people to open the present. Some people, they'll be like, oh, combat's a little too slow, and they'll change jobs, and eventually they're just like, all right, I'm done. I've only seen level 30. 6 times, and it's like, come on, like, unlock flying, like. And so from a crafting and gathering perspective, I would wait to get into Heaven's Word before I would even open that up, because of flying just makes everything so much easier to get into.
No sugar that way.
No sugar that way. Yeah, and later side quests, like when you get into the Stormblood areas, not Stormblood, Shadowbringer areas, they will actually sync to the level that you're on. So I used a lot of side quests to level up my alternate jobs. So I would go pick those up and I cleared zone by zone by zone, because they would just sync to whatever level I was on. A great majority of the content, Eric, is doable solo.
Sorcery.
There is a few handful of stuff as you do the MSQ that does put you into a dungeon, but outside of that, treat this as like a Final Fantasy game that has an online component, and that online component is a flower that will bloom into more of a component if you want to engage with it once you've finished the stories. And just to kind of speak on that, New Game Plus here, like you have right now, we have 4 JRPGs as a part of this game. Endwalker is going to be a 5th JRPG, and that's going to complete a saga. So all of what you see here is just this epic saga, but these are all like awesome games and stories.
There's pigs of different colors, and there was beetles. Those beetles were epic. Come on, sugar.
Come on, sugar.
Botania's always been one of my favorite mods. You can do some weird stuff with Botania.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's effectively, so there's 2 types of mods in Minecraft. There's like science-based mods and there's magic-based mods. And honestly, it parades itself as a magic-based mod, but it's still a science-based mod. Like it still has the same progression.
Yeah.
And so it's hiding. And I really like that. I don't know what these beetles are from, but I like them. Hey. Whoa. They are not very nice beetles.
Hey Brian, are these raids getting us bitter memories, or are they getting us
They're getting us vexatious memories of the dying is what we're farming up through these. Are you getting them?
No, I'm on the lonesome one, the one right before that quest.
Oh, you need ARR. You need the Crystal Tower, right?
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Do you want to like? I would recommend you hang out here in voice, but maybe drop and go do that, because otherwise, like, this isn't helping you out at all.
Now, what's cool is if you want to do multiple relics.
I'll let you guys.
You can get as many drops as you want while you have the quest active. And so if it asks for 3 of something and you leave it active, you could farm up 60. And so what's cool about that is if you have multiple relics at multiple steps, anything you do that can drop any of those steps will drop. And if there's something that drops multiple of those steps, like being in Bosja or Zadnor, you can find all those steps simultaneously. And so as soon as you get one relic done with one step, progress it and start the next one. And just keep doing that. There it is.
Yeah,
there it is.
I have each quest up until where I'm at now.
Yeah, I would recommend just dropping party. Hang out here. Like, don't feel like you got to leave. And just go and start working on those ARR ones. Otherwise, you're going to have to do this again. And that's like, hey, you did the work and then you didn't get paid for it. And it's like, oh, no. Yeah, Party Finder's up. If anybody here in chat wants to jump in, I've got it up. We're on Aether. That's the only requirement. So just look Bryn up in the Party Finder, or you could actually find us on Royal City of Rabanastre. But Party Finder, if you guys don't know, right over here, and you just say Bryn, Broop, search, and ba-ba-ba-ba, there we are. And B-Strick, thanks so much for this $2 super chat. Is this enough super chat for a 6th child? Not even close. I think each child I've had has run me. Annie was the most expensive at about 23,000, and then essentially every other kid has been around like 4,500 to 6,000. So, yeah,
Man.
So,
Wow.
Thank you. It's me for the support. We do appreciate it. All right.
means a lot, dude. Thank you very much. Man, the best thing to come out of this, like, because honestly, I'm so happy that, like, Square Enix did this thing with Twitch. Like, it's such a great move, but also just to see, like, this community kind of just come together, and it's just like cheering each other on and whatnot. Like, that's something we've always been very pro. It's like, guys, like, you know, if you like content, like, just saying thank you ends up being a huge boost. Like, it helps feed you the energy I think you need to do this, because because haters get attention. You know, negative comments, they get attention. It's natural, so it really helps to offset that burn sometimes.
You can drop for a bit.
Okay, no
All
worries, Wes.
So I got my sugar. The problem is,
Thanks, Ailes.
didn't get very much.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering.
Ooh, Scott, you're wondering what
Bone
Chris...
meal this. I cannot. Oh no. All right. We'll have to let that tick up a little, because that's a renewable resource if you treat it as such. So while we burn time on that, what I can do.
I'm going to pass this along to you, Chris, because I think you'll like it. Scott says, I have to say, you and Work to Game are my favorite 14 channels so far. Have you checked out Gaming Kinda? Because that's also a really good channel. But yeah, thank you, Scott. I really appreciate that, man.
There was somebody a tree outside the base. No way.
I don't think he heard your plug, Brian.
Which one?
I smiled. Thank you.
Oh, good.
How much
It's about gaming.
10.
Kinda.
It's so funny how he always finds a way to end it with kinda.
It's his talent, man. Chris is a talented individual.
All right. Got this here, and then I need string. Let's make it daytime.
Ooh, good question. Demo saying, hello, I'm new to Final Fantasy 14 player, and I want to know what the best North American server would be. And so, from a server perspective, it isn't as important because the game is cross-server into degrees. There's some things you can do and can't do. I would kind of more or less focus you data center-wise. And so I would try to either go to a data center with either friends that you might know in the game. And if you don't have those, no worries. If there's a content creator that you enjoy, I would point you in that direction so that you can team up with them. We're supposedly getting a data center visit, so that's going to help bring the community even closer together here in the next, we assume, couple of months, but we don't know. And as far as it goes, like if anybody wants to weigh in on this, that they've got more insight. But we're on Sargatanas on the Aether Data Center. If you ever want to team up with us, demo. Other than that, I would open it up to chat to kind of plug their servers. Like, there's no wrong choice in my opinion. You can also find a server that's got a Road to 70 buff that will boost. Like you'll fly through your levels, which is nice. Chat's also saying for Crystal that if you like roleplay, Crystal is as a data center has a lot of the role playing community. All right, queuing up.
Need string.
Welcome, Astrid. XI is saying they're friendly on Genova. Sorry, Chris, go ahead.
Oh, I'm just talking. I don't really want to go cave diving.
Sargatanas did make the list.
Brian's live. Brian's on Ginger Prime.
Yeah. You never know with notifications in YouTube. So.
All right.
Did our bot break? Damn it, Comet.
I'm
there it
preferring
goes.
Nightbot quite
there
a bit.
There it goes. There it goes. I was like, you better not. Like, Cloudbot was having some problems for a while.
Yep. Okay. So I need string to get me a book. So I go to Tanya. I'm trying to make this book here. And I need string, and it can be flax, linen thread, silk thread. Where do I get flax? Flax comes from flax seeds being grown. That's going to be more time than I want to spend. I think we just need to go find a spider. Guess I can go cave diving a little bit, but I'm probably going to die. Can be very dangerous.
B-Strick wants to know, can Chris sell you your own beanie? I don't know how to
sell you your own beanie.
Yeah, I don't understand that question. I know we do have the work to game beanies. Not wearing mine right now, but it's right here. Looks good. Unfortunately, I don't like. I've been worried about hooking up Ginger Prime to the to our work to game Teespring because I was like, will it override? Does Teespring recognize multiple channels? And I'm waiting for YouTube because I hear they're going to give us the ability to semi-join channels together, which would be, I think, very nice.
Yeah, it's a little different for Gaming Kinda because Gaming Kinda, like, you can only have one. You can only have one you have to have one person that's responsible for the account. Like, it just asks you for a name, and so technically the name on Twitch is Brian's, and the name on YouTube is mine. And so, so he can go off and do whatever he wants with Ginger Prime because he's never made a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
It gets a little harder for me because Google's like, we already gave you one.
Yeah.
What'd you do with your last one? Did you misplace it? So Gaming Kinda is linked to Work to Game from an ownership standpoint, So like Brian can see anything that goes on Gaming Kinda, which is really convenient because right now he's been helping me a lot with editing for that, and it's really easy for him to log in because it's the same login.
Right. It just is in the drop down list, like boop boop boop.
Yep.
But they're apparently
and it's great
going
for
to
me
be.
because like I can check comments on both. I go back and forth when I'm responding to comments. I just go back and forth which user I'm logged in as.
Did I tell you about what YouTube's testing though?
Yeah, in theory, then we would be able to kind of merge yours into like a team.
Yeah. Which
And
I think
that's
would be
not something.
well, that even outside of the work to game side of it, but with the podcast channel and the clips channel, with my parents channel and with my see here.
Well, what they're testing is that we could have one big comment section. So when you're responding to comments, you could just see everything.
Comments is
everything
huge,
flowing in.
But even analytics, like I would like just to be able to sit down and be like, go to one page and it's like, oh, how's everything doing today? Like, oh, this is great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or if we're trying to compare, like, hey, we tried some stuff over here and we tried some stuff over here. What are we seeing? Right now we have to like pull them up in different browsers so they can be logged in separately, and it just makes a big mess.
Yeah. Now, Hydaelyn says it was really hard for me to follow all your guys' content when we split it into so many channels. And the real reason for that, Hydaelyn, is that originally, like, I was looking at it and saying, like, well, people kept asking how do you get started, and I would tell them, and then they would ignore my advice, and then I would like, is my advice suck? Like, I don't know, maybe we got lightning in a bottle, and then I went and just like did what I tell people to do to grow on YouTube, and you guys subscribed and found the channel. And I did not do a lot of cross promotion with Work to Game. Like I kept that, like I wasn't hiding it, but I was like, yeah, this is what we're doing. And so I started just posting here regularly, and the channel really is obviously taken off. Like we just crossed over 38,000 subscribers on Ginger Prime, which is huge. Chris has just crossed over 6,000 on Gaming Kinda, which is massive. Like he just really kind of started that push in January. So thank you all for the support there. But what we found is that it actually allows us to set up like people like I go to the same restaurant for the same chicken sandwich, and I don't really try anything else at that restaurant. Now, some people are different. My wife likes to try everything under the menu, and more often than not, she's like, oh, I didn't really like that. I go, I got the best egg and chicken sandwich because I knew what I wanted. And so what we found is that the ability to kind of break it up gave our community more choice. So one of the things that I even still see today is that people go, wait, what's this channel? Like, hey, wait, is this Work to Game? And there's still people who find us that way. I don't know if Chris has experienced that on Gaming Kinda in his comments, but it ended up, it was a growing pain that we specifically decided to make that track, a year ago.
Now that I'm full-time, I cross promote pretty heavily because I'm hitting everywhere so hard right now. So it didn't have the same opportunity to grow organically because I didn't really have the luxury of like waiting to see what it does. Like, no, right. I'm going to spend time over there. I need it to be growing. So it wasn't as much of like a science experiment. It was a lot more like,
right,
okay, how do I make this help me?
But the experiment had already happened. It was like, because I was, and that you were busy with a lot of your contracts. At the time, so I was telling Chris, I was like, even when I was doing Ginger Prime, I was like, dude, you got to spin up your own channel. And Chris was like, I just don't have the time. Like,
I don't have the time.
I was like, and I'm like,
dude, I'm not filming with you enough. Where am I? Where is this magical time to do this other channel?
What is this time thing you're speaking of?
You have time for Ginger Prime because I'm falling behind.
Yeah. So and then it was like, well, all right. Well, if Chris is busy, like, let's just keep building. And it gives us a lot of like ability because it's hard for people, I think, and this is the whole thing with even what we talked about yesterday. Like, is it hard to work with us from a Work to Game perspective because there is more than one physical person, or is it just easier to go and say, hey, we're just going to reach out to so and so because that's one person? And so to kind of set up, even though we establish our identity as a duo. Within the content creation space, to have kind of that ability for me to reference something here and then for us to kind of talk about it in an ecosystem is kind of nice.
But you've been invited to podcasts as Ginger Prime when they're games that Work to Game doesn't cover, and I've been invited to go be on a Guild Wars podcast. So like the moment we separated, we were invited to more things.
Yeah, I think it's just
I don't know if it's anecdotal. Right. We didn't test it.
Right. Well, and so maybe it's anecdotal, or maybe it's just easier to say, we have one slot, and it's like, oh, we want to talk to, like, oh, but are we snubbing somebody, right? Like, if there was a duo, that it's like, well, I want to talk to both of you, but we already, like, it gets complex. I figure it gets complex.
Oh, it makes podcasts really long because they have everything on schedule, and then they have to ask every question twice, and it makes it really long because they're just not set up to have two guests.
Firewolf, thanks so much for that.
Or if they are, they want something more diverse than two people from the same channel, and they're trying to have a big panel, and that's sometimes Brian and I are just repeating the same thing.
Yeah, because sometimes we agree, and sometimes Chris is completely wrong.
It's usually when I'm on an alt, as opposed to the superior warrior. I think actually now that I have a bed, I don't have to be as careful. You can only sleep at night and during thunderstorms.
Oh.
That's a weird secondary rule.
Let's see if we can clean up my friends list while I wait, because like literally it's. And my blacklist is also filled because there was a time when you would just get spammed in this game before they had the right click and report, and so the Square Enix was like, just ban people, blacklist them, and so I have and then you have to one off and remove people. So let me see if I've got any friends that are unable to retrieve that maybe they deleted from a long time ago. All right.
Okay, so I don't think I can find flax on this island, so I should have let it be night so I could spawn a bunch of spiders. Glenn, how are you? Speaking of incredible podcasts, Glenn.
Hey, Glenn.
Glenn just got to talk with Billie Jean King, which is like possibly one of the coolest things I can think of. Like, what a crazy cool thing to get to do. And told Billie Jean King a story about Final Fantasy. Like, what a legend! What a legend! How's Minecraft going? It's going. We are on the search for flaxseed or a spider because we need string.
I'm removing these these old broken names or whatever off my friends list, and as soon as I'm doing it, a new friends request is coming in. So I have spent, what is it now, 5 minutes cleaning off my friends list, and I'm still at 200 or 200.
All right. No, there's been some great podcasts like in and around this community that are not about 14. Like Zeppla was over on Asmongold's Allcraft. I see it as Asmongold's. It's an OTK venture, so Rich is involved in that as well. Rich Campbell, who's been playing a lot of 14.
Oh, I see Dignog here in the chat. Hey D, really enjoyed your stream. Awesome hair, by the way, and congrats on the progress regarding Extra Life for Kids.
They raised an epic amount of money. I think it was like 11 of $2,000. Quite the fraction. Quite the fraction.
Kyle saying over here on YouTube, Brian and Chris, thank you all for letting hang out in voice. I always enjoy all your content. Kyle, thank you very much. The best thing out of this week is I'm reminded why I love this community so much. Like it literally is just people coming together and just I don't, and the thing is, it reminds me more than anything else that I need to do a better job at thanking people who help just me while I'm at work. I listen to Chris, I've been lurking on D, but I'm not chatting, as much. So, it's just kind of nice because sometimes you see, we have 116 people here with a chat rate of like 2 a minute or something like that. So there's people that are just hanging out, they're listening. So thank you, and so I just want to make sure I try to do a better job letting people know that I see them even if they're just hanging out being quiet like I usually do. I'm an epic lurker on content.
Rich is a funny guy. So Rich Campbell is like a WoW. Think of him as a shoutcaster. Like that's what I picture him as. I don't actually know his background, like where he came from, but he's like super passionate about Pokemon and like the way that. Asmongold, when he's offline, is so chill when he's on Zakrar. Like he's so chill, like stoned chill. I don't know that he is, but like he just like it's a massive like you can barely hear him over game volume sometimes. he's just so calm, and he's like, oh man, I don't know if that's that important. Like, it's just this totally other relaxed, like Asmongold just saps all the energy. Asmongold streams sap all the energy out of it, and Zach's just him hanging out, playing games. Rich is the exact opposite. When you see OTK shoutcast coverage of like the World First Race, which they haven't announced what they're going to be doing with the next World First Race, if they're going to do anything at all, but they did a great job last time, a great job, and Frosty did a great job with 14s, and Rich was like, Asmongold like trampled right over the top of Rich. Asmongold had brilliant commentary, but like Rich was kind of toned down. And then you'd get him offline, and like he is ridiculous. He is being professional when he is in an official capacity. He can get absurd. And he gets way off topic. And by off topic, I mean like hasn't even had the game open in an hour. Like just he's like off watching YouTube videos about like cool stuff people do.
I want to get caught up on some chat here. I do see Everybody Bandit and Squitina.
He's a shoutcaster, yeah.
Yeah. Going down the list, though, Master X-Man says, how much is a data center transfer? I think it's like server transfer would be $18. But data center transfer or visit will be coming in the game, we assume, here in a couple of months. So I don't, it's up to you. But, honestly, at the end of the day, go from there. I'm going to scroll down. I do apologize if I missed any specific question. They're joking about ASMR stream. Scott says, what do I do in my day job? And I'm going to open this up to anybody who wants to answer it for themselves as well. But I am a independent software engineer. I've been independent for the last 4 years. It's been a very interesting experience, and I highly recommend it now. There have been times where I've gone to sleep and had no work to do in the morning, and I woke up to like 4 or 5 like new contracts ready to go, and I'm like, well, all right, I guess that's gonna be me keeping doing this, at least for the foreseeable future. But yeah, so I'm a software engineer. I'm also a game developer, and I've always worked on and actually have a couple of games that I've made. But one of the things I was hoping to do in 2020 before COVID hit was to spend, some time and take some of the YouTube money that you guys, like through watching ads and stuff, or not, I don't know, or skipping ads. I don't know how YouTube really kind of dulls it out, but it's like, I don't know. Like
people ask us all the time, they're like, "What's going on with the ads on this channel?"
I don't know.
I just let YouTube handle it. I don't know.
Like
it's not a plan.
It's like, all right, like some months it's like, well, that was no money, and sometimes it's like, that's more money than last month. But I was gonna like take that money and actually use it to basically not work a day and work in programming a game. And so I'm hopefully gonna be starting that back up here pretty soon. I've reached out and trying to find a couple game devs to kind of help me. Actually, my goal is to try to get something released within the next year. It's nothing like grandiose, but it's essentially like what I would call a bucket list game. Something that it's like, I effing did that.
Would you say it's a Final Fantasy?
Not legally. and he gets sued, and then they take my game. Honestly, it'd be a pleasure if they were like, well, this game's good enough that we should sue him for that. Legendary Mike.
Isn't that what Final Fantasy came out of? Weren't they running out of money and they were like, this is it, boys. Like, we got one more shot.
Got one in me. Got one left in the chamber. Legendary Mike with a $50 spot, dude.
Maybe that's not really it.
Right. I have Party Finder up, Jacob. If you can't find us, let me know. I'm going to put us back into queue. So you have a few minutes. I'm going to put us also into...
all right, guys.
Heaven's
I got
Word.
tired of looking for string, so we're just going to grow our own.
Grow our own string.
We planted hemp. For anybody that doesn't know, hemp is used in rope.
Ah, that makes sense, Jacob.
The recreational use is a latter discovery.
Soon enough, you will be able to come and play. That's going to be one of the things that I think is going to light this community on fire. Data center visit, depending on what we can and can't do, because we really don't know. That could have the potential to really just like bring this community into the stratosphere like it has never been before. Yeah, I do a lot of .NET Azure, a lot of Python, a lot of Java, I've been doing a lot of PHP recently, And yeah, and so that's what pays the bills. I also hoping I asked Julie was asking me what I want for my birthday, and I was like, I'd like another Intuos tablet, and I'd like to get back into my cartooning. So if you guys ever see on the community tab, I post some of my old cartoons that I hope you guys enjoy. So if you haven't subscribed and you haven't checked out the community tab, there could be a couple cartoons you might like. I don't know, or they suck. One of the two. So Chris, what do you do?
He's got an in with who runs the channel. So
I know I can post what I want. Chris, what do you do for a living?
Well, my wife was calling me a digital entrepreneur.
I like that.
But at this point, she actually has started telling people that I'm a YouTuber.
Oh, wow.
She said a lot of it is that, she said 60,000 people is a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so when they ask questions, she feels like, it's not like so your husband doesn't work. It's like, no, like this is a big thing.
Yeah.
That he's a part of. B, she said it's easier to explain than Twitch streamer. But when they ask follow-up questions, the Twitch thing comes up, and she said he basically runs a radio show where there's gaming in the background, and he just talks all day, which is accurate.
Sorry about that, Jedi. It's back up.
And see, like, she feels that, like, it's become a pretty big part of our lives. And so, I really kind of use her as my gauge for what I do for a living, because I historically have changed careers every 2 to 3 years, laterally or totally, and usually have other irons in the fire at the same time. I'm usually taking contract work on the side, or I'm like, I never stop moving. There's always something else. It usually looks like those things are related to and have a plan in hindsight, and that's just really fortunate. That's not actually accurate. I'm usually just like, I come up to a fork in the road, and there's 2 or 3 doors, and I try to put a toe into as many of those doorways as possible.
Yeah. Now, Dark's asking if I've seen the Yahtzee's devlog series. I have not. If you wouldn't mind linking me that in the Discord, and I'll be sure to probably give that a good run. I always like getting other insights from that. One of the things that actually drove me out of this game dev, because that's what I studied in college, as a full-time career, was Halo 2, when they locked them away for like 9 months to finish the game. And I was like, I also would like to have a family. And knowing my wife now, I would be like, there's no way in hell that she'd be fine with me going like, honey, I'll see you in 9 months. Yeah, you'll see me after that you sign these papers. Oh, man.
So in college, if we're going to just keep backing up that far.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a who is Chris and Brian question. I studied architecture for both my bachelor's and undergraduate, or my bachelor's and my graduate degree at my master's degree at Texas Tech. My master's degree in architecture, since you have like a specialty, you learn a lot of things that everybody else that has a master's in architecture learns, but you usually have a part that you take kind of the equivalent of your electives on, because at that point you're learning a lot about a little. So your electives are directly on subject. Mine was in digital design and fabrication. So I learned fancy types of software. I learned fancy scripting languages, but I also learned about fancy technologies and things going on in the space, and how to use things, everything from like 3D printers and like building technologies and stuff like that. So that's where I started. I always wanted to work on a skyscraper.
Mm-hmm.
And I got an internship by... So I had a professor in my graduate school that said, if they ask you if you can do something, always overpromise and then deliver. Tash, thank you for 1,000 bits.
Well, he says that's what made me laugh. It wasn't that. He says he precedes it with, fun fact, Brian and Chris also double as dance monkeys. And cheering 1,000 bits actually gets us, you'll see us do silly dances over on Twitch.
I didn't have the volume on. So you just danced to nothing. So overpromise then deliver is what he told me. And so they said, hey, I understand that you've done 3D printing, and we actually have a team working on some towers that need somebody that has scripting knowledge and knowledge of 3D printers. Can you do that? And rather than ask the number of follow-up questions that are like, well, what kind of scripting language, to what degree, and because I didn't technically get my certificate in it and everything, and so like there's a lot of ones that I don't know what I'm doing, and there's a lot of 3D printing technologies, and I really was only familiar with a handful of them. I said yes.
Yes.
And he goes, okay. And so I got the job and came to Dallas. And the scripting technology was something I was moderately familiar with. And so the first day on the job after I got settled in, they said, we need you to present. We have this theme for the exterior of the building. It's this flowing dress of this flamenco dancer. And I studied abroad in Spain. So they're like, do you know what a flamenco dancer is? Like, do I? This is not the place to tell you how many times I've been hammered watching flamenco. So I was like, yes, I am aware of what flamenco is. And so I actually understood a lot about that whole portion of the culture. So they said, we need you to have 6 of these drawn by Friday. Okay. It was like a Wednesday. I'd done some orientation in the week. And so I started on it on Wednesday. And end of Wednesday, he said, how many of you do you have done? And I said, I'm still getting my feet wet. I don't have any done. He goes, that's fine. You got 6 till Friday. He visits with me on Thursday at lunch. He said, how many do you have done? And I said, none. And he goes, well, it's due tomorrow. We have meetings at 10 a.m. Okay. And he got to me at the end of day Friday, and he said, how many do you have done? And I said, none. That's not really how scripting works. And he's like, well, it's due in the morning. And so I showed up to the meeting, and he was super embarrassed because it was in front of the... He goes, well, I don't really know. It's Chris's first time, so everybody be nice to him. And the VP's in the room, and he goes, Chris, how many do you have? And I said, I have 28. He said, excuse me? And I said, the script is done. And I had written a script that gave me sliders that determined all of these rules by which the shape of the tower could have these curves and could set how many balconies, how many floors. And so I just dragged sliders. We adjust the height of the building, we adjust the width of the building, we adjust how many curves we want, how deep the curves are, how close they are allowed to get to each other. And you just set all these rules, and then it just spits them out. And so they go and they like 4 or 5, and they really hate 4 or 5. And they said, well, how long would it take you to do another 28? I said, I don't know. How fast does the printer run? Like, I don't know. And so they went to lunch, and I came back, and they said, well, we really like this kind of concept and this kind of concept. And they came back, and I had 2 columns of 20 posted on the wall. I had 40 more up there. And they were like, how do you have 68 of these done? The last guy could only do 10 a week. That's what you hired me for.
Right.
And they were like, well, actually, we also hired you to work on the 3D printer. So they thought, oh my gosh, this guy's a genius. I was like, well, that was a fairly easy script. So they asked me to work on 3D printing, and they take me up to this 3D printer. Now, there's a story that was told by a commencement speaker who was on 60 Minutes. There's a Texas Tech grad. And he talks about how his cameraman got to be the cameraman for the guy on 60 Minutes. And he said, when I was a war correspondent, gosh, I'm drawing a blank on his name. He's a tech grad, big 60 Minutes guy. But he said when he was a war correspondent, he had this cameraman, and they were sitting one time hunkered down, and there was gunfire everywhere. And he said, how did you get to be a cameraman in a war zone? And he said, well, I was a cab driver in New York, and I used to handle the 2 TV studios to the airport was my run. And one day there was 2 directors sitting in the back, and they were talking about the fact that their cameraman had just up and quit that day. And they said, how are we going to find a cameraman for the 6 o'clock news? This is impossible. The guy's got 1 more day left in him, and as of tomorrow, we are screwed. And he said, I don't mean to overstep, but in the country where I'm from, I used to be a cameraman. And they said, really? And he said, yes. What kind of equipment do you use? And they told him what kind of equipment they use. And he dropped him off at the airport. And, the next day he showed up and he walked in. Well, he had gone to the local camera shop that supported these TV studios. And he'd walked in at the end of the day and he'd said, how much do I have to pay you to teach me everything I need to know about these cameras?
Yeah.
And so he got taught to use these cameras by this guy at this camera shop for whatever he made from his cab that day. And he shows up at the cab at the studio, and he gets a job as a cameraman. And the years go by, and he works his way up through it, and they go, well, we have this promotion, and we're looking for somebody that's qualified to be a war correspondent as cameraman. And it's a harder job. You don't have all the same equipment and stuff, and the technology at the time, like it requires a lot more. And I really wish that one of our cameramen here was qualified to do that. And he said, oh, well, maybe I didn't mention, but in the country I'm from, I was actually a war correspondent cameraman. And they said, really? And he goes, yes. And they said, well, the equipment's a lot different. He goes, I know. What equipment do you guys use? And they wrote it down. And he goes to the camera store and he said, by tomorrow, I need to know everything about the following cameras. And so they're sitting hunkered down, and he goes, so this is really my first time being a war correspondent. Cameraman. And so I'd heard that story, and so like that's my go-to. Dark Lantern, thank you for 45 months. That's epic.
Dark Lantern, you are a legend, man. Thank you.
So so they say, well, we need you to have some stuff 3D printed. And I said, well, what kind of 3D printer do you use? And they said, well, I can go upstairs and show you. I said, great. And I wrote down the model number, and I went home, and I opened up the manual online, and I opened up the website to the FAQ section, and I studied it. For those of you that saw me do my Savage fights, I studied it the same way. I studied it like I had a test the next morning. And I showed up the next day, and I said, oh, man, have you guys had issues with it being temperamental like this? And they said, yeah. And I said, oh, have you tried the following like 2 or 3 steps to see if that fixes it? And they said, no. And it fixed it. And they said, wow, you really know your stuff. And I said, yeah, I know my way around these a little bit. And so I became like the official person in an office of 250 people with master's degrees in architecture. I became like the official 3D printer guy. Like that was they were a $35,000 piece of equipment. And they're like, oh, well, you got to ask Chris. Like Chris knows. Chris is the guy. I was 25 years old. I don't know what I'm doing. All I did was Google it. Like that's it. I just spent all night reading the manual backward and forward, quizzing myself, and getting to know the forums and the frequently asked questions. Like it wasn't.
So I'm gonna jump in because Vaughn has a really good question. Is getting geared and doing Savage Eden dumb at this point? New to the game, and raiding was my thing. And wow, really enjoyed the Scholar healing. I would assume in this game is that they're enjoying Scholar. They say LOL, I'm just gonna go for it, and that's the right attitude. Just go for it, man. Like, yeah, like it's not obviously the current, like, I mean, yeah, the people are still raiding. People are still going for the clears. There's plenty of raids to be done. There's plenty of things to master. It's only gonna if you love raiding, we've got raids, you know. And then basically, I think you're just going to be setting yourself up for hopefully a good success and fun time in Endwalker, because we're getting a Pandemonium, which looks amazing, and beyond Pandemonium, Myths of the Realm seems also incredibly exciting.
Rory, thanks for the Prime sub.
Thank you, Rory. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, that was my first job out of school, and I got to work on skyscrapers, and that was like my goal. They're like, well, if you want to go into architecture and work on skyscrapers, there's a very good chance you're going to be 30 or 35 before you achieve that. And the first building I worked on is a 35-story tower in Houston, Texas, and the entire garage skirt design was originally quoted at $11 million. The budget from the developer was $2 million for the outside skin of it. And I wrote a script that got it down to, instead of being, it was like 382 unique panels, I got it down to 4 base panels, 2 variations of end panels, and then we had like 6 that were unique, truly unique. But those, the majority of those were repeated and were flipped over and all that, so that it could go be machined in a shop, and it cut the cost down by like 80%. And it was just scripting language. And pattern recognition. And It's down in Houston. It's 2929 Wesleyan. And 2929 Wesleyan was very controversial when it went up because it's in basically this small residential area, and and at the time there were these small houses, but Houston doesn't do zoning, and so we built a tower that was going to cast shadow that there are homes that, as a result of Houston zoning, it is their own fault that will never be able to have a garden in their backyard as a result of it. So it's insane to me that people live in a place that, as a developer, you only have to pay attention to what's going on your lot. Like it's just chaos. So yeah.
And David's asking, is Pandemonium a new difficulty or just a new trial? And that's actually the name of the new raid series that's coming in Endwalker, called Pandemonium. And it teases some, we're not going to talk about it here, spoilery stuff. But if you don't know, you don't know. So like even if you went and looked up and saw the slide, you're not going to know. But if you do know, you know. You know.
And the 24 mans will be Myths of the Realm instead of the near raids, which I'm super excited about.
Dude,
which once
Myths.
again, you know, very exciting.
Myths, like as an old school 1.0 player with the 12, like I am so interested to see what they do with that. So excited, like that. I'm ready. It's going to be interesting because we know that 6.0 ends the story, so 6.1, when the first Myths of the Realm raid drops, like that's a part of this new world and new story thing. You know, it's going to be exciting.
Fan Collector, thank you so much. 6 months, and so the in 2929, the two things I worked on were the two primary tasks I worked on. The two main tasks that I would feel the most ownership over are the garage skirt and the garbage chute, because that's what a new guy gets to work on. I worked on a lot of other buildings too. You get to work it's an international firm, so you work all over the world. But cool stuff.
Yeah, anytime, David. Yeah, we're just here to hopefully just help ease everybody's experience and or answer the questions that they've got.
Did I interrupt?
So when I realized I didn't want to do architecture, I went from that to, I thought, how do I do the most opposite thing of architecture possible? And I had a buddy in medical sales, and he said, you should go into medical sales. And I said, that sounds like the opposite of architecture. So I went and sold cardiac equipment in Washington, D.C.
What's up, Reality? How you doing, dude?
Oh.
When you guys ask what I do for a living, like, I've done a lot of things.
I was just a little shocked to see you guys on. Normally don't see you guys on this late at night.
No, I haven't been playing video games, and Julie asked me, like, you know, cause I've been kind of down, and so she's like, what do you need? And I go, I just need to go play some games. I just need to just fight some monsters and just have fun. And I love this game, so I just haven't played video games, and she gave me the night to go play some games, so that's why I'm here. And then Chris, like, as I was about to go live, Chris is like, hey, you thinking about going live tonight? I go, yeah, I was. And he's like, me too. And I was like, well, I'll just go to Ginger Prime if you're going to Twitch. And he said, yeah, sounds good. I was like, great. So I was like 2 minutes from actually hitting go live, so he called right at the perfect time.
Oh. What are y'all streaming?
I'm streaming some 14, and he is streaming some Minecraft.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah, I'm working on my my relic. I'm on the endless crystal, the endless alliance raid. Well, not endless, but it's just 36 raids or something like that.
Medical sales was a trip.
Yeah.
That was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked for a small but growing company, so they had parts of the country that they were really well represented in, and they had parts of the country that they weren't represented at all. So I got tossed into the DC market, which is actually one of the hottest markets in the country. So I had immense success there. But I really had little to no oversight. It was an incredibly bold choice.
Bold choice, Cotton.
Bold choice, Cotton.
Good night, Scott. Thanks for hanging out, man. Appreciate the lurks. Appreciate the likes. Really means a lot, guys. Oh no, Red Mage down. Red Mage back up.
So the problem with doing Britannia first, it's absolutely a valid mod to start a pack with, is I usually, like, I really wish I had, like, a big old infinite stack of bone meal. I don't.
What were you going to say, Reality?
I was just saying, I've been kind of following, you know, a lot of the stuff that's been happening in WoW and Final Fantasy. It's
been crazy,
feels
right?
like it feels like we're in crazy times. Do you guys know, like his videos popped up over this past like week and a half, Quasi?
Oh!
Yeah, I watched one of his Thursday.
Yeah, Chris actually did a reaction to one of his videos, so...
You should, you know, just because he's also good at video editing, he's been my nightly entertainment because, yeah, he says, you know, he's a 10-year WoW veteran, trying the whole game, and he's been playing it off stream to get the full effect, but then he posts his videos up, you know, he just cuts them down to like 30 or 40 minutes. And, yeah, I'll have to say I've actually kind of enjoyed what he's been putting out. Not so much, you know, necessarily because, you know, he's liking the game, but he's also giving you know, I think you know, even things he doesn't like, you know, he mentions both, and so kind of gives a pretty balanced opinion on it. So
you're not gonna like my reaction.
Not your reaction.
So, as somebody that's played both games, I think a lot of what he's enjoying is that it's new, and I think that's healthy and that's fair. I think he's giving credit to things in 14 that do exist in WoW and I think he's giving credit to 14 that would be true of any new game. I think a lot of what he's enjoying is just a healthy break from something you've played for 10 years.
Well, even when he was mentioning it and all that stuff, he's said a number of times that WoW is still his main game. But yeah, he's been enjoying that, you know, just having a refreshing reprieve from it, and that's how I took it as well. You know, I'd be a little surprised if he, you know, like started, you know, doing like end game things, but like his mindset was honestly kind of similar to mine, to where, you know, like Final Fantasy feels more like a single player game with a multiplayer function to it.
So I was with him at the end of ARR. And so, like, I will say ARR is incredibly single player. Yeah.
So, but my thing is, that's why I said mine was kind of similar, because even though I like a lot of the end game in Final Fantasy, I've kind of made my peace with the game because I like playing more a variety of games nowadays instead of like one game straight through. Final Fantasy is a great game just to play for the story, you know, maybe do a bit of end game, do a bit of tombstone farming, and then, you know, that's just fine. And then, you know, if and when you decide like, okay, time to push for a challenge, you know, then, you know, that's when you start trying to do, you know, the extremes or this, you know, getting a static put together. But I've only done that, you know, several times, you know, throughout the entirety of it, just depended on my mood at the time. So yeah, sure, I want to kind of just, you know, see how he enjoys, you know, going through the expansions and all that. But yeah, yeah, I know, you know, he's, like you said, you know, you're just enjoying a game. So
sure,
it would be interesting to see if he goes beyond that. I am kind of glad that I did see his video that he took the time to do coils. I kind of laughed when you said, like, I was so close to just skipping it because I wanted to keep doing the main story, and oh my god, I felt like such an idiot that I almost made that decision. I'm glad I didn't. So yeah,
Chat's saying a lot of people in chat are saying they enjoy Quasi as well.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, his Potato Chan and Watermelon Kun.
Yeah, I'm excited that he's liking it. My reaction will probably get pushed back.
Yeah, so he's like I don't know, a ton of, content creators and all that, but his at least was a pleasant surprise to
He's doing a great job.
get his name.
He's been in my feed
Yeah.
constantly.
I mean,
that's
what you need to be. That's where you need to be. Most people were like, oh, you guys make like clickable thumbnails. Heaven forbid. It's like, you are going to be up against 20 other thumbnails at any one point. Be clickable. Like, be clickable. Or like, oh, nobody watches your videos. It's like, you don't put out thumbnails. Like, put out a freaking thumbnail.
Yeah.
Like, it's
But that was
logic.
That was one funny thing. Like, what was that movie? Like, talking about like the 7-minute abs, and the guy says, "Well, what if somebody comes out
6-minute abs?
with the 6-minute abs?" And I saw that exact thing on my YouTube feed where like it said Quasi 10-year WoW veteran, and then right next to it was some other guy's name, 15-year WoW veteran. Like, what's gonna happen when a 20? Like, do we watch the 20 guy? Like, he has even more time. But now 20 years is a bit too
67-year
far.
WoW veteran.
Yeah.
Yeah. And next we're gonna see like a whole group, like cumulatively 100 years in WoW with these 8 people.
You can't do ads in 5 minutes.
You can't do apps. What are you talking? You crazy? I'm gonna get to Jedi your question here in a second, but I think essentially it was also like you want to look at with that kind of mindset. It's the journalistic like headline mindset. Like, you need to communicate what the video's about, like within, and then YouTube gives us less than 100 characters, which is like sometimes so hard to work around. It's like, all right, how do I talk about it? That's why like variety content's really difficult, because like if you're like, okay, this video is about A, B, C, D, and E, it's like, okay, you're gonna only be able to maybe fit in A, B, and if you're lucky, C.
Well, and like even within your own content, Bellular's putting out content at a rate faster than I can consume it, and so I look at thumbnails and titles even among his feed to determine which ones to watch.
Yeah.
And how much I enjoy those determines how urgently I come back and watch more. And so his entire library is being represented by his ability to communicate quickly and effectively what's inside each video. So they have to be accurate, but they also have to be something that when put against something else, that each video really stands a chance of fighting for itself.
And for chat, like I've got it on YouTube, and this also for Twitch. If you're over here on Ginger Prime, I do have Party Finder up on Aether. If anybody wants to join in for some runs, I am needing. It looks like you need 18 of each, right? So if that's the case, I need 9 more Rabs and 10 more Voids. So I still got a chunk of work to do. See if I can
The amount
get
of
a few more of
sprouts
these
coming in
things
has
done.
been wonderful.
Oh, it's been amazing.
It's been wonderful. I had a queue logging in Monday morning. It's awesome. Start of the week. Awesome.
Oh, no worries, Jacob.
Yeah,
And dude, take care of your kids, man. 100%. I'll give you guys a minute. I'm going to answer Jedi's question real quick here, and then we can dive back into more questions and conversation. It says, "Hi, I have a question. Do you agree with the removing of belts in Endwalker, or do you think there could have been a better solution?" And the answer is yes to both. Belts aren't seen. They were a part of the visual representation of your character in 1.0, and since 2.0, a belt is just actually an item that doesn't even physically exist on your character. So there's nothing that it's doing. So I think at the moment it's the best of the solutions to get more weapon and an accessory like ring space. I think there is a better solution, and that solution I believe is what the team has been working on behind the scenes. Now this is just my theory, but I do think that there's going to be a point where we'll see some big engine changes, some big feature changes, and we don't know the timing of that. So
Gear doesn't matter. like any
it's a
slot
stat
doesn't
stick.
matter.
It's a stat stick.
Because they're just stats, and so you could assign the stats to job stones, and you would get to the same result. We replace it with glamour anyway. So like gear on its own, a non-cosmetic slot does two things. First of all, it assigns stats. That's fine. The other gear can assign those stats. Second of all, it paces the content. That's fine. We could take the stats off belts, put them on boots, take the boots and make them cost 1 raid token more or a certain amount of tomes more to get, and you end up with exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. It's a 46-hour podcast on Friday. Oh, I didn't know that.
Who did what on Friday?
Bellular. I know lately he's been doing his hair stuff. He tweeted out an image that I guess his team photoshopped of him with how he looks post hair, and he's got like huge flowing hair and this big giant beard. It's good. It is good.
On the whole belt
Got
thing,
a chuckle out of me.
Yeah, belt thing. Go ahead.
I think Yoshi P should troll everybody on day one, just the one day, that because of belts, when you go into like dungeons or into combat, there's like a 1% chance your pants will fall down and you fall over, and just to see the crowd's reaction, he could have a good laugh himself, and then that's it.
They took underwear away from us back in the day, so like, what's a belt?
All right. Well, I'm still working at that time. Dark?
Actually saying being a mentor during the Sprout Rush has been a blast. I bet, man. I bet that's been keeping you busy too.
All right.
Yeah. I wonder how that meeting went. Yoshi P's just like, our game's been doing better than ever. Can we get more server space so we can have more stuff to add these things in? They're like, no.
Nope.
Like, okay, so we're gonna have to get rid of something.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, that's like when
Great.
the immediate when he said they were removing belts, I go, holy crap, they're out of memory. And
yeah,
and it's like, and they're taking that memory and they're putting it into weapons and into rings, and I go, that's perfect. That's perfectly fair. And they're saving 5 slots that I would assume would be for the job stones. So it's like they can add more, more job stones, more, have that for the weapons. So
yeah, I don't know if it's the same memory banks or whatnot, but you wonder also how much the new Ishgard housing area affected that as well, since that's gonna be a whole brand new area. So I wonder if that affected it at all either.
In theory, yeah, like that, and the fact that they have to, it takes so much more work and server space to have housing. I bet that's a big stressor, in terms of that. Like, hey, we're adding housing, and people, no matter what, just like the list, people are going to be excluded, and it's just going to cost them money. It's not like adding more housing is, bringing in like massive new players, right? It's just trying to serve the players that are already coming into the game.
I know that he posts his VODs because the other day he linked one in one of his Twitter posts and I clicked it and it's just an unlisted. You do that actually because it penalizes the channel otherwise. So if you let your streams sit out there, then YouTube consider those live videos, and then it takes how those videos are performing and it decides how all future videos on your channel are performing based on what your library is doing. And since that video won't perform in the same way that your other videos will, it is going to assume things about your current videos that are wrong. And then when they don't live up to those things, it's going to assume that means they're bad. And so you unlist VOD content and cut it down to something that fits a format so that the algorithm knows what to do with it. It's not a desire to hide it. He could literally go put it in the descriptions of all those things if he wanted to. He shouldn't, because people are watching the clips and the clips are generating ad revenue. And my understanding is that at this point, the clips from the ad revenue from this whole 14 series are paying him an amount of money that is making it possible for his team to consider 14 in a much more serious way from a business standpoint, not just that they're enjoying it, which is a great thing.
Yeah, that's a whole.
I know people don't want to think about that side of content creation, but like hobbyist content creators are a huge value to the community, but they cannot be the only thing, because there are things that they can't get to because their time is limited.
Right.
And so when you want somebody like, I wish somebody was educated on WoW N14 and could compare them. No hobbyist can do that. Like, you can't.
Well,
they're too big.
That's where.
And so you need
right.
somebody that can be full-time in both games.
And that's where when people talk about like, oh, we wish we had somebody doing more lore content. It's like, yeah, people that's a great thing that I've heard said, but they don't watch it. They don't, the people who make it, like, when you look at how much time My Name is Bife has to put into his lore videos, thank God that community watches his videos. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen.
Right. So, I mean, the YouTube algorithm, it's logical in how it works. The algorithm has a big and hard job to do. But how it affects on an individual level is really frustrating. It is, because it's to serve everybody decently, it has to serve each individual person incredibly poorly. And so you have to just adjust. It's the nature of it. It's the same way, it's the same way our roads work. It's not about getting you to work optimally. It's about getting as many cars relatively optimally. And it's frustrating because it feels like, man, nobody's having a good time in traffic. Of course they're not. It's the nature of these big systems where everything really needs to be bespoke and individual. And you have destination A to destination B, but literally the percentage-wise, when you're driving on the highway, nobody's going where you're going and nobody's coming from where you're coming. Like you're a unique path at that moment.
And I like what Fi says. When they announced that they were removing belts, he did think, poor Nomura. How is he going to take this news? More belts, please. More belts. Lamp Devil says that they can make bad lore videos. Go for it. Like, honestly, like, I think people are hungry. I'm working on a couple lore videos. And, I post those. But, like, they are an immense amount of work. And they are a passion that I have for the game and telling the game's story as best as I can. And I wish I was better, and every time, like, every critique leveraged against my lore videos, I think I'm just like, yeah, I agree. I would have loved to spend another, 10 hours on re-recording that or, setting this up. I'm honestly thinking about working with an editor for the next round, and that's like, that puts it at a loss, because I usually, when I work with an editor on a video, I have yet to make any money off of that video. But I do it because I love it. So I've done a couple of handful of lore videos, and they just don't get watched, and that's fine. But I'm glad that they exist and they're out there. And they usually run me about $150 to $200 a video, like all said and done, time, recording, research, and paying the editor.
I have some project videos that I want, and some of the gaming kind of money, percentage-wise, I want to funnel off to go do the exact same thing Brian's doing, to make projects that I want possible happen at a loss. Either by paying for my own time, justifying not working on something that can earn money, right? If I've got 10 videos I want to make, and 3 of them will pay my bills, and 3 of them will pay minimum wage, and 4 of them will die, well, I throw the 4 that are going to die in the trash, and then I look at the remaining 6, and I say, okay, can I make 2 of these and 1 of those? And so I'm not making videos I don't want to make, but I am restricted to the top 2/3 of my ideas. And as gaming kind of grows, that's what allows for me to say, okay, twice a month, I'm going to go grab something from the bottom of the stack that I'm really sad got cut. Thankfully there's things I'm really looking forward to that are in that top half. So it's not it's not like it's inverted with which order every once in a while I want to make something and I make it and I have a ton of fun making it and I'm like, well, hope that does okay. And then it does really well. And I'm like, okay, so I did well and I enjoyed it and it was fun to make and I was good at it. Wow, let's do that again. Like that's lightning in a bottle.
Let's keep going.
But there's a lot of times that things don't line up that perfectly, and you're getting 2 out of the 3 qualities, right? You're good at it, it's easy to make, and it's profitable. It's like, okay, well, you gotta pick 2. And, if I want to pay my mortgage, you can't every single time say, well, let's just remove profitable. Whoa.
Yeah. If you ever get to be like Tyler, and you're like, I can do what I want, and be like, all right. What do you want to do? I want to play Final Fantasy. Good on you, dude. Proud of you, man.
Hey, it's okay, guys. On July 3rd, we'll have a guy that has all the time in the world to give you videos on both games. So,
Yeah, that's gonna be neat. I'm looking forward to that. I'm honestly looking forward to seeing like how he feels about it, and I'm not looking forward to the part of the community that I definitely piss off from time to time because I speak about this game in as honestly as I can. Who have told me that if Asmongold dare even whisper anything negative about Final Fantasy, that they're gonna go on their internet attack force, and I'm like, you got problems, man. Like, that's scary. Like, you don't get the gift that he's giving Final Fantasy. You think him saying anything bad about it's gonna hurt the game? Au contraire, you've been under a rock. The best thing he could do is say this. I don't like this game, because then everybody's gonna go.
Examples of non-profitable videos are anything that either the number of people that will get value out of them is small, or the amount of times they can be watched, or the percentage of them that can be watched is small. And so something that once somebody's watched it once, it's not worth watching again.
Or sharing.
Right.
Sharing
so the
helps.
total, and it's not worth sharing. So that means that the earning potential of that video is very small, and then the time invested in it is long. And so anything that's going to require you to go research data, is going to require you to go capture large amounts of footage, is going to require fancy editing techniques, lots of voiceover, anything like that. And so as the earning potential goes down and the cost goes up, that's where it crosses over.
Yeah. I would say podcasts to answer that question.
Podcasts are a great example of something that you put a lot of time in, the appeal is narrow, and the earning potential across that appeal is narrow. And so the total earning potential, right, the amount of time you make per customer and the total number of customers is small, and the amount of time spent filming, editing, and posting them is large by their very nature. If it's 2 hours long, it's a minimum of 2 hours to film it, assuming it's one person talking. If it's Brian and I, you have to think, okay, that's 4 hours of work to game time. And so that means that we effectively, by the time it gets edited and posted and we answer comments on it and we try to promote it and we plan for it and we write scripts, it's very easy that Brian and I combined lose a full work day. And that video will oftentimes, in various formats we've tried over the years, earn less money than Brian and I sitting down and saying, how does the market board in 14 work? Which we can do with no research, one take, and hit publish. It appeals to a huge number of people. They'll watch it once and come refer to it over and over and over and over.
And they'll share it, etc. And then to add on to that for the podcast, it's actually what I call, right now is our loss leader. Because I spend probably about $45 a month in terms of software and hosting, because we have to host the MP3 files. And so it cost us money to produce the podcast, but it's when Julie asked me what do I love doing the most, I go, I love podcasting. That's what I started doing with back when I started covering Final Fantasy was that's how I started, as podcasting, and I love it. And so in my mind, it's worth it. I think maybe there'll be a theoretical time where it is something that becomes like from a monetary perspective, but that's why we don't have Chris booked up on a podcast each and every day, because he can't pay his mortgage.
Right. Even if it would work out in 6 months.
Yeah. That's why you see me running Epic Loot Radio.
Wells Fargo,
and
who currently holds the note to my house, doesn't care.
Don't care.
It's like, yeah, but people are really liking it, and I think in 6 months it's gonna be something really great. Cool, you can pay us on the 1st. So
good luck.
And it's also why. So there's two theories of content creation. There's what's called the elephant and the octopus. And you see channels lean into the one that works for them. It varies, and it varies based on the type of content they produce, who they produce it for, who's producing it. But the octopus is basically, I'm going to make 10,000 videos, and that's my goal. I'm going to make it up in quantity. That's the work to game model. We get mocked for it. It's what we do well. It's what people are used to consuming from us. If one of our videos is not your thing, you don't take it personally, and you come back and you check again tomorrow. And so it works really well for us. The elephant is somebody like Mark Rober. He publishes 12 videos a year. He puts an immense amount of time, energy, money, and effort into each video and promoting each video. And once it goes live, there's all this effort going out in post and dealing with it. So that's, and you can live somewhere in between, but those are kind of the two big categories. And so for me, what I've found is stick to what works. We've spent 5 years on the platform. We've learned a method that works. And so gaming kind of is about hitting publish a lot of times. And if I make a mistake in a post, it's not about fixing that post. I had a bad reaction against Bellular that I filmed live, and as part of a series, I hit publish anyway. And I knew that it was not a post that I was horribly proud of. But I also knew that there's 4 or 5 things I wish I'd done differently, and I bet there's 4 or 5 more that I don't know about. And so I hit publish, and I watched the comments carefully to learn not only the things that I already knew were wrong with it, but other things that were wrong too, so that other videos get better as a result. And so it's a progression. I published my reaction again. My first reaction was Zeppela, which was terrible. It's my first reaction. Like, I hadn't even done posts before, and it was so hard to watch. And I got a ton of feedback, and I didn't take it down, and I got better. And I just make it up in quantity. I just learn in total reps. And the nice thing about that is the way the YouTube algorithm works is if you do choose to publish that way, your bad videos, the ones you're not proud of, they kind of get covered up. Like, they kind of just disappear. They never have to get deleted because they're hard to find. Like, it's really hard to find videos in Work to Games catalog that didn't do well enough to get a lot of views because they're down there in the stack under about 2,000 other videos.
I thought about getting that 1.0 server spun up as well in terms from the Meteor project, just to learn more about it. I got access to the source code for Final Fantasy XI's private server that I'm on, and it's like I constantly have these like things that I want to do, and then I'm always presented with time restrictions and things like that I just don't have the ability to handle. And what the fuck? Excuse my French. Luke with holy shit, dude. Sorry for the curses. Luke just cheered $500.
That's amazing.
Ooh,
man.
wow.
Damn, dude. Loves the podcast, and here's this year covered because I love you and Chris doing it. Dude, you literally just funded the podcast. I'm going to take a snapshot of this, Luke. You are literally the sponsor of the podcast for 2020 and 2021. I don't know if you intended to purchase that, but that's just literally what you did, dude, because you've covered the hosting and so much more, man. Oh my gosh, dude. I cannot thank you enough. Holy crap.
Wow.
Well, I can now no longer say the podcast is the lost leader. I can say this podcast is happily brought to you by Luke. Luke, if you want that to say anything specific, as long as it's work appropriate, I know I just swore and dropped a F-bomb and an S-bomb. But if
he just wants you to say, holy goodness,
holy
this is brought to you by Luke.
Holy goodness, this is brought to you by Luke. So if you have anything that you want to say on that, dude, like you just sound off and let me know, man, because that what you just did is so freaking generous, man. And yeah. Oh yeah, that's great because because like from the math, it's like I spend $45 to $50 a month on this. And I looked the other day and I was like, hey man, we made $2 on that podcast. That's sweet. Now we have a sponsor. Thanks, man.
I know people that do a lot of podcast appearances that are full-time creators, and for any of you wondering how do they make it happen, it's a loss leader. It's intentionally. It's done at a loss intentionally. They know that, and so they found a way to do something like. I do the podcast as a form of networking, and then with that networking, I am a writer for a number of publications. And my typical audience doesn't, like FS Asher does a ton of writing and stuff like that he doesn't necessarily get credit for. You don't look him up under the name FS Asher. You don't necessarily know, right? And so he does a number of things. He I think when he went to when he went to the media tour last time, he was there on behalf of a publication, not as FS Asher.
Right.
And so he's gone and been an expert in spaces over and over and over. And so you want to talk about a loss leader for a podcast, I don't think he gets paid to be on State of the Realm. It's none of my business, but he just shows up because it's worth his time, because then he can go. And so for him, I know when he has time to stream, he streams. And I said hey, does streaming help you? I asked him one time, I said, does streaming help you with all your lore stuff? And he said, honestly, no, because most of the time people are asking questions I already know the answers to and all that. So and the big profound questions come in through Like he gets a lot of those via Twitter and all that when he wants questions. So he doesn't need to stream for his content. And so the reason he streams is because he does all these things like podcasts and his videos. There's no way he makes money on those with the amount of time they take. And so he does all these things as losses. And then he's made it clear to the community that is heavily involved in Ethos content that his streaming is what helps pay for that. And people go hit subscribe. And when you go hang out in his stream, it is not uncommon for people to come by and say, hey, can't stay, here's a subscription, and leave all day. Just a rotating door. And so that's how. But he can't just like quit doing the other stuff and be like, yeah, stream makes my money. Like it's 2 parts.
Yeah.
He's doing a service that doesn't generate money, and then he's creating an avenue where people, much like a Patreon, can go and say, I want to support that manually.
Right, 100%.
And so there are ways that even a non-profitable form of any art, content creation, playing a sport, being in plays, whatever that is, right? EU Media Sword never has YouTubers or Twitch streamers. It's strictly media. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I knew he went as a publication. And then I imagine that publication, probably footed a portion of the bill, right? If he needed a hotel stay, that was probably paid for.
Right.
But he owed them a service. So that publication, I'm sure, got an article written by whatever name he publishes under, if it's Ethos Asher or something different.
I would assume it's probably his like real name from you want to be published, and when he can point back and say, this is me. But I can be wrong. I can be wrong. And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just think that's a big part of kind of how that stuff gets covered. So there's ways for it to get paid for. So for any of you interested in making something, you're like, well, the thing I want to make just got listed as one of the things that's not profitable. Well, you just have to, like, if your goal is to, like Brian, make the cost of the hosting fees. We're not talking about doing it for the money. We're just talking about doing it to the point where it doesn't literally cost you something to do it. Then at the beginning, it's not going to be there, but long term, you'll have to find a way to pair it with something that you also enjoy. I watch a guy that he does voiceover and like work for he makes his own Dwarf Fortress lore episodes. But when people donate, like he draws things that he sends them artwork and stuff that he draws for them, and he draws for the episodes. And so he takes a skill for the episodes, and then he applies that to something that he sells as a product, and it's a skill set that he enjoys, and he enjoys doing it. And the things that they ask him to draw are things from the game, and so he just draws extra things, and then that, instead of being used in the video, even if it isn't used in the video, can be sent to them for money. And so that can help pay for however much time he has to take off work to get that done, or if he needs a new camera or anything like that. We're not talking about millions of dollars here. We're talking about just not losing money.
And 100%, like it is really cool when you get invited to podcasts and things like that. Being invited to State of the Realm, I think, was a real highlight. Kind of being in that space. I like going on. I love the podcasts that we have. I pared down this year because I was like, I want to do a podcast for this game and a podcast for this game. And it just became a little too much. I'm over ambitious. I'm like, oh yeah, let me do all this stuff. So we have 2 podcasts. We've got Epic Blue Radio, and we have Casually Hardcore. And so that's kind of what I've kind of pared it down to. And it's a lot of fun putting those shows together. And it ends up being a lot of work. And then whenever I get invited to a show, whether it's with Chris or just solo, it's a lot of fun because it's kind of like I'm just kind of hanging out like this. Like y'all put the work together. The one thing I usually do as a stipulation, though, because I have been on some podcasts that it's like 4 hours later. So typically, whenever I get invited, I go, "How long are we talking about?" Because I gotta approve it with the wife. I can't be like, "All right, I'll see you guys." Oh, I thought it was 2 hours. We're on hour 4, and we're like still going. It's like, and I'm fine with the long podcast. Julie just needs to be made aware of it. So it's not like
it's hard.
Yeah,
I was on one that ran total filming time. It was 4.5 hours, and it started right after stream. And so my work day turned into 10.5 hours, and I never really have like I snack and stuff on stream, but I never really had a meal. And so at the end, my brother listened to that podcast, and he goes, "Dude, you make a lot of comparisons, but these were only food.
Yeah,
Only food.
He's hungry.
And I was so hungry. Like I'm so hungry. I'm having a good time, but my goodness, I'm hungry.
And I want to answer Dark. He says, Dark Flame's asking, I'm familiar with the salaries in the IT space, but what kind of metrics would get you to be to the point of being comfortable enough to go full-time in content creation? And the answer to that would have to be some form of independent wealth where, I'm not joking, like it's the content creation I have a passion for. I don't see myself stopping, but with my 5 kids and making sure that they're provided for, content creation scares the living bejesus out of me in terms of if I was trying to rely on it full time, because then I think it's not fair, because then I have to make some decisions regarding the content I make. I would then have to, would I temper the words and not that everybody does this, but I'm just saying, in my regards, I would do anything for my kids, and I don't think content creation is that avenue for me to provide for my family. I think it's an avenue to help, fill in the gap. And I've told Chris this, and it's my goal for, honestly, if the content gets to where it makes enough money, we send my kids to private school and we pay for that. My goal would be is that if content creation covers that cost, that's a win. That's great. I'll have, I don't mind at all. But full-time content creation scares the living crap out of me. So, if I was somebody like Tyler Blevins, Ninja, that's a different story. I don't know. I wouldn't quit coding. That's the other side of it. I think a part of my content creation would be I would just probably teach programming and do that on Prime University, which is that other channel that I've got. So, yeah. If I was like Chris and didn't have any kids, I think that's a different conversation, but
I was buried in student loan debt, and so when I took that medical sales job, one of the advantages of it was I had the chance to earn a pretty big chunk of money. And when we came back to Dallas, the student loan debt wasn't gone, and I once again took a chance to earn a really decent chunk of money. And unlike other people that I worked with,
yeah, they
my
spend it on some weird stuff.
We spend all that money on buying a really old small house and continuing to drive really reasonable cars. I have multiple friends that have vehicles that are individually worth more than our vehicles combined by a substantial margin. And, my wife and I's night out tonight is we went to Smoothie King on a Friday, because on Fridays they do a special on smoothies. We don't do that much as far as cost goes. And so I'm gonna have leftovers for a little snack here before bed here in a minute. And so when you ask what's the number, it's a really personal question. I have never done RP. The question was, have you ever done RP and stuff for things like Final Fantasy? No, I have never really. I played D&D and stuff. That's where there's a more role play type game as the whole game. But I've never added RP to something where there's another option. Now, when I play Warhammer, we talk a lot of trash based on the lore. So when you roll a bunch of ones, I might reference something from the lore, and I'm like, well, I mean, what are you gonna do? Papa Nerdle provides, and we'll talk a lot of trash around that, but gamer escape status looks like no Evilise again. What?
No. So I read the article. I clicked on it. In this case, it's that Matsuno is no longer working on the Evilise. So the Evilise story is complete within Final Fantasy XIV. I'm hoping that he's still working with Square Enix. I would love to see Tactics 2. Not gonna lie, that would be sweet.
Cool. Well, speaking of which, guys, it is 11 o'clock for me. I get up early in the mornings. You guys go hang out with Brian over on the YouTubes.
Woo-hoo.
So, over on Ginger Prime, if you've never watched us stream on YouTube, it is a thing that happens.
It is a tool that we use.
It is a thing that can occur. Yeah. I think that Twitch is a more powerful platform. So
yeah, Twitch is.
If you want to go watch Brian, that's there. I'm not going to do a raid because I don't want to force anybody to go anywhere off of a chill stream like this when I'm suggesting some of you go see Brian. So I'll find somebody here on this platform if you want to stay here. Somebody that I know's doing great.
Someone's viewing that cutscene.
Should go hang out with Ren. Oh, Llama Todd. Or Ren. Or Todd.
Or
Ren.
Rid. Or Todd. Or Rid.
Or Todd. Both. So,
Yeah.
Go
Double
watch
Ren.
some raiding. Oh my gosh, the perfect introduction to raiding is to jump back and forth between Ren and Todd. Like, that's the perfect introduction. So go pull both of these up. Pull up Brian's stream. Pull up 3. Just confuse your eardrums. So, thank you guys. Go hang out with Ren or Todd. Tell them hello. Tell them you appreciate them, or go say hi to Brian. Thank you guys. I'm gonna call it a night, and I'll see you guys Monday unless I do another little bonus stream like this.
Yeah. Have a good night, Chris. Thanks for playing with me, man. It's been fun hanging out. What's up, Gary? All right. These these drops aren't worth it. I'm just gonna go. I'm like, all right, fine, y'all win.
You guys have a good night.
Oh, thanks, Gary. I love
See
your
ya.
face too. Night, Chris. All right, let's see here. I'm gonna do one more. I'm gonna do one more run. Open up the party finder. So I heard Chad was asking, do I run with subs? I do. You might not even be sub. Like YouTube, it doesn't give me the ability to set like sub only chat, like because subs here are follows on the Twitch side. So it's like it literally is member only chat or like free for all. And I'm like, man, I don't know. Come on, YouTube. Let's go. So Party Finder is up. If you've been on never used it, or if you're on Aether, you can just pull up the Party Finder in the party settings. You can type in Brin, B-R-I-N. Oh yeah, so if I actually, and my game's not actually selected. B-R-I-N, not Brin. And then you'll see Royal City or Rabanastre. And Dawning Rocks joining with the Vishap level. That's tier 2. Thank you so much. $5 club. I really appreciate the support, man. Enjoyed the emotes. Yeah, I really appreciate the support. My plan is to take the money that I get from membership on the channel and try to use that to funnel. That's why on YouTube we can set our price, and so I've always had it start at $1. And I don't think I'd either do a good job promoting it, or I think YouTube needs a lot of work in terms of making membership valuable. But the goal is maybe if, at some point I can have it pay for a day out of my work week, so that I'm all right, I'm not working a contract today. I'm working the Ginger Prime contract, and I'm gonna make a video game. What's up, Bandit? How you doing, man?
Doing all right.
All right.
Figured it was a little less noisy in here. It wouldn't be a bother if I joined the voice chat.
Oh no, when I'm in the chill room, I do need to make another version of it, I guess. So it's here's the chill room, not live, because I know some people they want to come hang out in voice, but they don't want to be live, and I get that. And I need to be hey, here's the chill room, and here's the live chill room.
I saw you did a little video on New World recently as well.
I've been covering that game for a year, and actually a year and a half. So I'm excited for it. I hope that it's good. I'm not hyped. I think there's a fine line between excitement and hype, and that gets a lot of people. And hype is kind of that blind, you go into it and then you're oh, this isn't what I expected. But I'm excited. They've got some items on paper that sound good. What I played of the game felt really good. However, with it, and the caveat to this entire statement is, it's not how it launches. It's going to be how it's supported beyond launch. It'll be good if it has a good launch, but what game has had a good launch? But it's the weeks that follow. It's the months that follow. it's the first expansion that follows. It's the and so on and so forth. But go ahead. Yeah.
Well, that's one of the big things with MMOs in general is if you can make it past the first 3 months and your player base is still there to a decent degree, then you've kind of made it.
Yeah.
There's been too many MMOs that just fizzle out after 3 months. They come in with a lot of promises of what they'll have, and it just doesn't reach it there. Yeah, sure, I've followed it quite a bit as well. I played the preview, and to be perfectly honest, I'm actually a part of the current alpha testing and have been seeing how the updates go over this past month, and all I can say is, it definitely feels like it's getting a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait.
With July 20th,
July
we'll be able to,
July
we'll be able to
20th,
stream it, talk it. We do need to make sure
Yeah.
we're synced up, so we're on the same server and stuff. Because there's some things, guys, and from my experience, like I had my wife play, and she said, "Get me this game, please. Like we're gonna play this game together, right?" And I go, "Absolutely." And that was actually kind of like a real key moment, because I was like, there's something mad from what I've experienced. There's something magical, and it's something that I feel in some games, and it's potential. There's a potential in the game. It doesn't necessarily mean it will be really fully realized, but like the fact that I'm running and I see a guy chop down a tree, and you're like, holy crap.
Oh yeah, it's really satisfying with that, and even with the mining, it breaks up all the rocks and stuff. So yeah, you're right. When we're not allowed to talk about anything right now, but when July comes around, we'll be able to.
We need to get you on the podcast in July then. Hey, let's talk about that.
Yeah, it came a little bit later in June because honestly, I had so much time had passed, I had kind of forgotten I had signed up as a tester.
I check my email every Friday, man, and I'm still not in.
Yeah, and then one guy was just like, he was just like, "Hey, have you heard of that New World game?" We started talking about it. And he's just like, "Yeah, my buddy, he said he played it and he got in a couple of weeks ago," and I was just like, "Oh yeah," and that was the one thing that was shocking is because I normally have my email set up for alerts for all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I checked again, and sure enough, it was set up on that. And for whatever reason, I'm annoyed at Gmail right now because they fell through hard. Like I would have been all over that if I had known, but so I didn't get to go through the big June update, and there's nothing that is taboo there-wise because they posted everything they did. And then they
have added so much to the game. They have been very forthcoming about their plans. And chat's asking, is it going to be a sub-based game? No, there's no sub. It's buy to play, and then they're going to have cosmetic cash shops. They've talked about they're considering a battle pass for the future at some point. They're considering and this is where the controversy comes in, is that they're considering boosts and things like that. And then everybody who freaked out about boosts went back and they're literally playing games that literally let you do even bigger boosts than have been even suggested by the New World devs. But beyond that, New World Amazon doesn't have a track record that we can say, hey, we trust them. On the counter side of that though is that Cyberpunk had such a fan following that you couldn't talk about it. Cyberpunk and Sony were prior to 2021 they were held in such fervency from their community, you couldn't even bring up critical things. But over the course of this last year, hey, it's nice that we can actually talk about these companies, in a critical way, not being disrespectful, being fans, but there was anyway. But longer story for another day. But with New World, they've been if they can keep up what they've been doing in the alpha. They've been releasing big update after big update. That's going to change no matter what, because they'll be in production, and there's whole different rules when it comes to development and updating production. But beyond that, if they have if they can hit some kind of 2 or 3 month, a 3 month cycle like 14 does, they're going to keep people interested and continuing to play that game.
Well, that's one of the things that you see with an MMO, why it lives or dies, is huge content droughts. And
yeah,
you're right. If that's been in the back of my head for the longest time with New World or Ashes and all them, you got to keep up a good content cycle, or
Ashes has already set itself up from the community to fail. Not that it will fail, but no matter what, from what I've already seen from people and just praising Ashes as the be-all end-all, I hope to God it is the second coming of MMOs, because if it's anything less, I feel bad for the devs.
Well, the biggest thing about Ashes that I'm really gonna enjoy that game.
Oh, what they have on paper sounds amazing.
Yeah. Well, my thing with that is the type of game it is not what the type of game most people who play
think it is.
Who play what theme park MMOs play, and they're
going
to be
sandbox.
in for it's very sandboxy, and they're going to be in for a very rude awakening.
Sandbox
they realize,
is better than theme park anyway, so like
oh yeah,
it's harder to get into. Like when you look at the strengths and weaknesses, it's harder to get into, but when you get into a good sandbox MMO, that thing doesn't let you go. I'm still playing 11.
Well, that's my thing is, after World of Warcraft was my first big MMO. I saw my friend play Final Fantasy XI, but I didn't have a computer and everything at the time, so I never got to experience that one. But after I stopped playing WoW for a good long while, when I look back on it, the games that kept my biggest interest that I stayed in for a year and a half or 2 years really were the sandbox games. EVE Online, ArcAge, even games like Ark Survival Evolved and all that stuff. It's because, the devs make just enough content, to keep you entertained, but, as a sandbox states, is you create your own fun. And, the theory works out, because even a 2-year-old, you place them in a physical sandbox, they don't need an adult to tell them how to have fun. They use their imagination, and they'll figure it up. And it's literally no different in a video game.
They've been trained and trained and trained in the theme box style, and that theme park style has then basically made it to where, okay, what next? And then so there's going to be an adjustment. New World is what I've looked at them for this whole time, is they've seen this sand park, where it's okay, we've got theme park elements. We've got sandbox elements, like the player-driven economy, things of that nature. I'm hoping that those stay, like the whole zone control and territory, etc. Like that, even the fact that you're doing PvE and you're still trying to vie for control, like almost Final Fantasy XI's conquest system, has me so excited and so thrilled. And I hope that they knock it out of the park. It gives something to do, like you said, let us use the tools and make our own fun. And WoW has done a lot of this. 14 has a sandbox. It's it's Blue Mage would be considered sandbox in my mind. Roleplay would be sandbox in my mind. PvP is sandbox. You play in the PvP sandbox because it's changing content, in that regards. And I'm really excited for Endwalker's PvP adjustments. I don't know what they will be, but I really hope that we get some good ones. But yeah, I really am I hope that Ashes knocks it out of the park. I worry for.
Well, like
people.
I said, that's my biggest worry. I don't have a worry that they're going to be able to have all the content that they say they're going to have.
Hey, Dino.
My biggest worry is more, on the player side.
Yeah.
Is, do they stick their noses up at this isn't fun. This isn't.
And in those games, Final Fantasy's coming out with Endwalker shortly after. They're gonna, in those games, will go and invite players back into that. When New World comes out on August 31st, you know what I'm playing on November 19th? That's a reality. New World, I'm not really worried, because for me it's okay, $40. I'm really excited. I'm playing this with my wife. Even if I don't decide to become and focus on more content for that game itself, I play Destiny, and I just don't make content for it anymore. And I've had to give myself permission to do that, and that's a me thing. That's my brain, and like I love making content. Then at some point I'm like, no, Brian, like you can just enjoy this for you. But beyond Destiny, it's like, yeah, I honestly see myself doing a lot more New World content as well. But like, will New World invite players back in? You know, and that's what they have to do with that content. Like, New World cannot launch and have a content drought like WoW has had with Shadowlands. That will kill it. Like, who's going to, like, you can have maybe the sandbox of the game is super fun, but what Amazon has to show is they have to show that they are invested in this game, and that gives you a reason to invest your time. And they've said 10-year plan. They've said all the things that are great, but it's all about everybody said that, and it's like it's not even like the words mean nothing. I think their actions mean everything, and what they've shown in their actions over the course of the last 18 months, the fact that they delayed the game a year, I think it's good. Like I've always said, like, this game's not ready. Why is it coming out? Oh, we'll fix it after launch, and then the game goes away because no, they didn't fix it after launch.
Well, yeah,
that's a baller move. That's a costly move. Yeah.
Well, the game suffered from a severe identity crisis.
Yeah. I felt that.
Oh yeah, and when they finally decided, okay, I know you said they had sandboxing elements, but they're primarily like a theme park style MMO now. Yeah. Then they're like, yeah, that's one of those things to where they'll, it's not that theme parks are bad. It's just that those type of MMOs have to have more frequent updates than the sandbox ones. That's one thing where games like Ashes have a bit more breathing room. Is they could have longer spells without content coming out because what the sandbox coming out with isn't the most important thing.
Right? No, it's not. That's where it's like you can survive a long time with the sandbox because you get gamers having fun and making their own thing, and the drama and the stories that the players are driving end up being kind of the key aspect. You log in not because you're fearful or FOMO, the fear of missing out. Like, oh no, I'm gonna miss my daily. No, it's none of that BS. It's literally like the game's good. I want to at least check in. My friends are here. It is a whole other world and connective, cohesive story. Now, the Master's Ammon says, I doubt Amazon will stay true to the word. Yeah, they haven't deposited any trust with the community, so whether they do or they don't.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I've heard this stuff too many times, and if you want to get me on my biggest fear is they can hype this game up all they want, but then they could, if you're just talking about pure money, they could just I have no doubt in my mind those guys aren't stupid. They know that a lot of MMOs only last 3 months, and I bet there's somebody in there that says, well, if we can get enough money out of our game for our 3 months and it dies, well, at least we got our money out of it. Yeah. So I hope that whoever's the majority of the people running that game is that isn't the full mindset, that they are in it for the long haul. The thing that is the counter argument in my mind to that, for them walking away, is that they haven't had a hit. And if they are serious about gaming, which they've invested a ton of money into, they have Luma coming out, and it's like, and I've used Luma and it's okay. Stadia is still by far the best cloud gaming platform, if they could actually get some damn games, but that was one big thing is with the sheer amount of money, and they put 7-8 years and they still haven't released a game. They've had to scrap a bunch of games. Yeah, so that in a way that can benefit New World, where it's like, all right, guys, this is our big go at it, and then I think New World, if it's successful, they need to make sure they bring it to more places, because just having it on PC, when you're competing against 14 and Destiny and things like that, it's like, let people log in and play wherever. That's going to help grow the community. They want to grow, like, they have big plans for it. It will end up becoming a technical marvel if it's successful. It'll be a case study if it's successful. The engine will be, and it could really have a good positive impact on the state of MMORPGs. But that's all if Amazon wants to continue to invest in it. They got the money. Like, they're not, like, New World fails.
like I doubt, you even see it reflected on their on the stock. It's like, all right, this is something we were just kind of like toying around with, see if it works. But what I experienced with the game, it was solid, and I was like, I want more. I've been wanting to play more New World since it went offline in August, and I think that's a good sign.
Yeah.
I feel like they're pushing way too hard
What's
to
up, Dad?
let it just drop down like that. Like the 3-month thing. Like if that was the case, they would have just did that already. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I think
they
that-
wouldn't have bothered with the updates that they've been doing every month. If they're just gonna let it die after 3 months. So I think they've been pushing way too hard, and it'll probably
Yeah.
be a game where the community
They're-
actually grows.
They're
with
already
the game
planning the
at same time.
expansion. I've talked to some people who know things, and they're already working on the expansion. And like the thing that they're trying to figure out from a deliverable perspective is what's the interval. And essentially what I've been told, and it's like what I've been told is that they're trying to find the sweet spot from Guild Wars 2 and Final Fantasy 14. Where Guild Wars 2, ESO, where ESO has a yearly expansion, and then where Final Fantasy 14 has a update, big update every 3 months. And it's like, if you think about it, if you can have 4 big updates, kind of the Destiny model in a way, and an expansion every year, like, that's awesome. You don't need a sub fee for that. Your sub fee is your expansion expense, And then you drop in a battle pass, and I really like the Halo model where your battle pass doesn't expire. I like that as a parent because I'm like, all right, I'll play, and then it's like, okay, well, as soon as I stop playing Destiny every time I'm done with the expansion, and I just dip out of the seasonal model stuff because I'm like, nah, I'm good, because it expires. I'm not going to stress myself out. Oh, cool, Investor. Yeah, like I don't know if I would be going to say New World's going to be my home base MMO. Like I don't see, like I'm going to be playing 14. Yeah, but like when I look at, like, okay, what 2 MMOs am I spending the most time in? Well, 14. New World, maybe.
It'll be a good duo between, at a bare minimum, between content droughts with Endwalker and all that.
That's my hope. That, like, honestly, if Yoshi P and Amazon can coordinate and say, hey, we're gonna have our update on in November, you're gonna have your update in January, and then we'll go in February, and then you go in March. That would be really great for me.
Yeah,
like that would be perfect.
That's my biggest thing is for as interesting as the game is, it does
right.
have a high hurdle to go over. You did mention about it being on different platforms, and it being an action-based game. As far as controller goes, that game's going to jive and port over a lot better than the traditional hotkey-based game. Simply because there's less buttons.
I already wrote the controller guide. The controller guide's already up on this channel.
Yeah, and like that's why, like if anyone who plays on controller, that game's gonna be like no different than like if you play like Dark Souls and all those. So those guys are gonna pick up the game real fast.
Right. Well, the Master's saying because looking at any of their past games, they'll either give up or cancel it flat out. That's just his point of view. The logic you're using, though, is obviously just judging them off the past, which is valid, right? Like, this is their track record. But that bites people in the ass sometimes, right? Cyberpunk 2077 is a counterexample, right? A company that's got, like, people have a lot of love for their game or games, etc. And then it's like, oh. So, like, past performance doesn't necessarily dictate future success. They could have learned a lot of lessons from those past mistakes, and we're just not going to see it, as the gamers, But it also doesn't necessitate that this game is going to be a success on any measure of what it is. But the question is that if it's something that looks good and there's good things to be had out of it, having a new MMORPG built on new technology could be what the market needs, right? Like, and I don't know if there's going to be a massive, if I'm going to be able to sit here and tell a lot of Final Fantasy fans, because we've already seen that, like, in terms of metrics, like, maybe Final Fantasy 14 and New World don't have a lot of crossover in terms of, like, the player base, But I would say probably, you know what does? WoW. WoW has a lot of crossover with 14, but then I would say maybe like Blue Protocol has more crossover with 14, etc. So there's definitely threads. Like these are similar games, so there will be some crossover. But thematically, I think if you're looking at somebody like in playing World of Warcraft and ultimately really flushed, and they're not playing 14 because of X, Y, or Z reason, or 14 isn't their kind of game, then all of a sudden it's like, hey, here's this new world, and it's like an action MMORPG. Like it's positioning itself well, and the question is that will it execute and have success? I don't know. I think it can. Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. My brother just invited me to good old Warzone group, so I was gonna jump off doing that. But
nice.
No, you had mentioned about people trying out different games or what they're compatible with. But I've been playing outside of trying to test stuff on the alpha. I've been playing like the Burning Crusade Classic.
Yeah.
And a couple of my friends over there, they know I play Final Fantasy, and with all the Fraser, they're asking like, what, like how do you describe it? And because I've been playing Classic, kind of like a light bulb in my mind went off in my head. I was just like, when you start playing ARR, like combat-wise, it feels like Classic. And as you start leveling up, especially as you start getting through the expansions, it evolves into a modern combat system, and you get to experience all that. And I've had several of them try it, and because I said it that way, they're like, they didn't have that aversion about the whole AR combat's bad, or
that's actually
it's
a really good point.
slog and all that. Yeah, they went in thinking with the Classic mindset, because Classic was way grindier than it is now, and they're like, dude, I like every last one of them has said they've been having fun, and they said that because I explained it that way, it made a hell of a lot more sense, and then they didn't have an adverse reaction to it. So
I like that. I'm gonna steal that. I'm gonna hopefully give you credit, but my plan is to steal that.
But yeah, when I put it like that, it feels like Classic combat until you get past level 50, and then it feels like a modern game after that, especially once you start getting more skills. And that apparently resonated with WoW players, so that they could put two together. So I'll just leave it at that. It was great talking to you.
Thanks for hanging out, dude. I really appreciate you coming in. Hopefully I'll be getting some more hangout times like this with y'all. I've just been working like crazy. But I before you go, though, Cosmos says Ashes is so far away to even care about. I agree. People were saying Ashes was like 2023. And I think 2023 we're going to see a whole new Final Fantasy in terms of this MMO. Like I think we're going to be. I think the next thing Yoshi P presents in terms of his plan is going to have people go, holy crap! Like it's just going to blow people away. But that's just my theory, a game theory.
I can't.
Oh God.
Yeah. My biggest thing is content's one thing, but I hope he holds his promise. Into what he was alluding to, that the new MMO will still be in the 14 world, but it'll be on a new engine.
Yeah,
and that's what I want to see. So
you have a good one. Reality.
I'll peace out. You guys have fun.
I'm about to wrap as well because it's 7. My goal is I'm gonna get up early. I'm gonna go work out. I'm gonna take Maddie to do some bike riding, and then it's my dad's birthday, so we're gonna go see my dad for his birthday and spend the day. He wants to take the kids swimming, so. Hopefully will not become a toasty ginger under the sun. But thanks everybody for hanging out, and thanks for so much for all the support. See here, we got so many new members hitting that join button. Thank you guys. It really directly supports me and my family. But also Luke dropping a $500 super chat, basically sponsoring the podcast for the rest of 2021 and 2022. Covering our hosting fees and our software fees for that. So it really means a lot to me, Luke. And again, thanks to all you guys for your epic support of the channel and the content. It means the world. So I'm going to end stream. I love you guys. Y'all have a good one. There's no rating or cool features over here on YouTube. So it is what it is. We'll see you guys